funk. Thoughts deep, Boyce steeped in the depths that he sunk. Big stress, depressed in the middle of fall. Sky gray, I late in the thick of it all. I wonder, how long can a human survive just staying alive or carrying the rest of the tribe? Waiting for the day to arrive or struggling dies, and I be doing way, way more than getting by. So why? Cop myself a cup of coffee, sip of water in it softly, cleansing me of stress I hold. Hey, cop myself a cup of coffee, sip of water in it softly, cleansing me of stress I hold. Realize life is so much more than just living a day. Every day I can sit and reflect and reconnect to myself and all that I've been given. See, giving up is not an option. So when I'm looking at gray skies, I'll be adopting a new way to deal with a test. Lord, relieve me of stress and bring me looking like when blessings drop in. And so I cop myself a cup of coffee, sip of water in it softly, cleansing me of stress I hold. Water in it softly, cleansing me of stress I hold. Hey, here we go. Yeah, let's do this. Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3. In times of test, let no harm beset me, oh my Lord, oh my Lord. In times of test, let no harm beset me, oh my Lord, oh my Lord. Woo.
Salute everyone. Welcome to the podcast. I am Urban. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight of this primetime live stream. Now, y'all know whenever I go live at night, you know it got to be a good one tonight. So tonight we are going to do a review on this latest debate that happened in the manosphere. Now, those of y'all who are not familiar with the manosphere, there's one content creator known as Anton Daniels. Anton Daniels, he has several different channels on YouTube. He has the Millionaire Morning Show. on YouTube. He has his other channel called Anton Daniels, and he has one more channel as well too. I think it's Fight Club, but he had these on several different channels on YouTube. And Anton Daniels, he came from the Lapeef Network. All right, so there has been a back and forth that been going on with Boyce Watkins and Anton Daniels. All right, so those of y'all who not familiar with Boyce Watkins, he is one of the content creators. He's on YouTube, but he's mainly on Facebook. Okay, so here's a content creator. He talk about economic things with dealing with the Black community. How we speak about things how we could do as Black people to improve the Black community as whole. One of the biggest things that he advocate for is for positive relationships in the Black community. So Boyce Watkins and Anton Daniels, they have two totally different ideologies when it comes to supporting the Black community. Hence where this debate is going to come from. This debate is going to come from, their anecdotal experiences on dealing with relationships in the Black community. So without further ado, I don't want to hold y'all up. I only seen a little bit of this debate, and that was it. For the simple fact that I wanted to have an organic experience with this, all right? So I want to go ahead and go through this whole debate and give y'all my perspective about it as it's happening in real time versus me already watching it and breaking it down, all right? So without further ado, we're going to jump into this. But first, and I see you, Constance. Eric, I see your other shirt for your birthday. Showdown. That's what I do. But appreciate it, Constance. Appreciate it. I appreciate everyone else who's going to want to tune into the stream, everyone else who is going to catch the stream live, or you're watching in the bushes, or you're going to catch the replay of this. Appreciate it a whole lot. And make sure y'all hit that thumbs up as you come into the house as well, too. It does help the channel out. And if you're able to share out the stream, by all means, share it out, too. So without further ado, let's go and jump into this interesting debate, all right?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and today I want to talk a little bit about an interesting guy on the internet and named Anton Daniels. I don't know him. He looks a little bit like Rick Ross's cross-eyed brother or something.
Wow. Right off the bat, this dude come right off the bat swinging.
What?
Wow.
What?
All right, let's go ahead.
And I have no idea. But anyway, he loves to join in the chorus of these really disgruntled Black men that give this crazy, horrible advice on the internet. And what I want to do is kind of put it into context. I'm a little bit older than him, so maybe a little bit wiser, maybe not. But I'm going to give you another perspective that I hope you'll consider. And so get comfortable, buckle up, seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now. I want to share something with you that has to do with something that was brought to my attention.
Now, let me address this real quick. Well, whenever you hear someone refer to age, they normally do that as a part of a superiority complex. There are people out there, both men and women, they believe that their age equate to wisdom and knowledge and understanding. But that is far from truth. There are people at various ages who have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Hell, there are even children who have wisdom, knowledge, understanding of certain things that even us as adults can't even comprehend or we can't gravitate towards because of our own ego. But I just wanted to bring that up because that was like an ego trip that he was trying to do. But let's go.
That I thought was really interesting. And it has to do with this guy. There's a guy named Anton Daniels that gives interesting perspectives on a lot of different issues. And he mostly talks about women. There's a lot of, I don't understand men who talk about women all day long, but this is what he does. And he kind of is part of what I would consider to be this tribe of men who apparently maybe they're very hurt. Maybe women make them sad. I have no idea. But some of the conversation is a little bit disturbing in the sense that it's not a reflection of what is going to create a healthy, prosperous Black community. It's a lot of conversation about single mothers and all this other stuff, which I don't understand at all. But
Well, one thing I can agree with on Boyce on this one is that there are certain men in the manosphere space that really are hurting over their past experiences with dealing with women. I absolutely agree with him on that. But the one thing about it is that when you have like content creators like Anton Daniels and also like myself as well too, normally we already been through the fire of dealing with past relationships, right? Rather be tried, and now we just on a whole nother level of understanding or another level of enlightenment. Whenever I myself or even Anton Daniels, to be exact, whenever we talk about these situations, we don't talk about it not only just for content, but we also talk about it because it is our hope to point out the certain toxic behaviors that not only women but men do in this time that we live in right now. That's how we do in the manosphere space. But however, once again, I do have to point out that there are men who haven't been to that level of enlightenment as me and Anton. They're out there, they're hurting. These type of men, they'll be up in the chats, they'll be coming in the chats, they'll be saying all these weird or crazy stuff, projecting their own hurt. But it's up to men like myself and Anton Daniels to try to bring that balance, and bring them that type of enlightenment as well too. So, I mean, yeah, I understand where he's coming from, but he have to understand it from both perspectives, all right? But let's go.
he did a video and he mentioned me today. And so I thought that I would kind of give an appropriate response to it in terms of kind of giving you an honest perspective on. I even shared this video on my Instagram. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance. And I'm actually going to try to share my screen. And I want you guys to watch this and then I'll give you my take on some of this. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to pull this up. Let me know if you can hear. Let me know if you can hear this video. I'm gonna play it right now.
Be in the presence of a woman that's tainted. You don't have a chance because he already had you. Listen.
Oh, okay. So he ended up doing a Instagram short. All right. So let's listen to what Anton got to say. Knowing Anton, he probably said the most like usual, but go ahead.
If it's that easy for me to get it, I don't feel that special because he hit it, and Dreadhead hit it, and Umar hit it. Boyce didn't hit it. Boyce didn't hit it. He didn't have a chance. We ain't worried about Boyce.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Anton, oh my goodness. I'm rewinding back a little bit, y'all. Here you go.
I don't feel that special because he hit it, and Dreadhead hit it, and Umar hit it. Boyce didn't hit it. Boyce didn't hit it. He didn't have a chance. We ain't worried about Boyce. And the fact
that dude said Boyce didn't hit it. God damn, wow.
What? Favorite football player hit it, and the basketball player hit it, and the homie from the hood hit it, and they ran a train on you before that, and then you had a kid by him, and you had a kid by him, and you had a kid by him, and then for some reason you think you're supposed to be sitting in the presence of kings. Since when did that happen? How is it that we started qualifying ourselves for people that we don't even qualify to sit in front of? And then they want you to be a step crash dummy. I just got a quick question, ladies. What qualifies you?
Okay, so let me stop.
Well, let me stop him real quick. So I'm curious to want to know why this particular short, this IG short, was the pivotal driving point to make Boyce finally say something to Anton. Because I'm going to be 100% real on it. Anton do be throwing shots at Boyce. And he do. As a matter of fact, a lot of gentlemen in the manosphere and Red Pill community space, they throw shots at Boyce. They call him Morse Watkins and everything. They call Boyce a simp and all kind of stuff, especially when he had married his high school sweetheart. They be calling him a simp and all kind of stuff. I'm not going to lie. I had did videos on Boyce as well, too, and call him a simp. I never called him Morse Watkins like Anton and them did, but I have call him a simp for his choice and decision making in his relationships. So after all of that, right, I wonder why that particular Instagram short was the pivotal driver point that he had to Let's come on out and say something to Anton about this. Real curious. Why did this particular clip hurt his feelings? In other words, but let's continue.
There, because he gave us so much good stuff. I think that there's a lot to kind of respond to. And by the way, let me know, can you guys hear that? Were you able to hear the video? And his name's Anton Daniels, and he's entertaining. You know, he's very entertaining. Sometimes he sounds intelligent, sometimes he sounds a little clownish. But you know, that's what the internet's all about. That's what YouTube's all about. That's how you get a lot of subscribers and stuff like that, because we have a lot of clowns in our community. I'm not going to say he's a complete clown. I would say that he's young. I think he's a few years younger than me, and he's very upset.
Yeah, once again, he's using the age as a superiority complex. Then another thing, too, Boyce is using all these ad hominems against Anton. When you do things like that, it don't make you no different at all. You know what I'm saying? It really don't. Now, once again, I stated that Anton do the same. He do, but let's continue.
Obsessed with me. He's really interested in my personal life, which I always find that really fascinating. There's no black man I can think of anywhere that I've been that obsessed with where I talk about that person a lot. But apparently he's talked about me a lot. And typically I don't really address it much. But this time I wanted to address it because I do think that there is something that's happening here that the community needs to pay attention to. So let's start here. First of all,
I'm curious about the community that he's talking about. Is he talking about the black community as a whole? And he believed that this one anecdotal situation affects the whole entire black community as a whole? Interesting.
Says, you know, he's talking about, I guess, some stank asshole, some nasty ass woman who slept with everybody that moves. And he's like, Umar hit it. The homie from the hood hit it. The basketball player hit it. Boyce didn't hit it. We ain't worried about Boyce. Boyce didn't hit it. And I'm like, you're goddamn right. Boyce didn't hit it. Boyce don't hang out with low quality women. That's not of interest to me. And Boyce learned from my father a long time ago that that black men, if you're dumb enough to think that you're supposed to sleep with every pretty girl that walks by you, you a sucker, man. You're stupid. That's the dumbest thing you can ever do. A lot of these women might have diseases. STDs are a big thing. We don't talk about it enough in the community. Think about how many men you know who slept with hundreds, maybe thousands of women, and they consider that a source of pride. I'm the man. I'm the man. Look at me. Look at how many women I slept with.
So he agrees with Anton's point. So once again, I'm asking the question, why did this particular short affect Boyce in such a way that he finally had to make a whole show talking about this? Real curious. And I'm even more curious to want to get to its understanding of why do you think what this one little short did, it affects the whole entire black community as a whole, which, to be quite honest, it really don't. How the way I personally see it as that it didn't affect the black community. I'm part of the black community. Did that clip affect me? No. Didn't change my social status or anything like that. It didn't make me happy, bad, or anything like that. It was just a short. But I believe psychologically it affected Boyce so much so that he wanted to get clout off of this. That's what I believe, but let's continue.
Bro, have you been to the clinic lately? And do you understand how many STDs are being spread in the community by men like you? Seriously, this is grown man talk. This is not something that that immature, childish people are going to get. The clowns are not going to get this. It's only going to make the clowns angry. I'm sure. I can't wait to see their video responses. I'm sure they're going to say lots of, lots of mean things or whatever. That's fine. I can handle it.
And that solidified my argument about it being clout, because ultimately he know by talking about Anton, he know that ultimately he's going to get the traction of clout that he want, which from one content creator to another, I get it. I understand. But we got to call it for what it is, all right?
But the point of the matter is that you don't understand that from slavery, you were raised with that slave buck mentality. Anybody, give me a yes if you heard about the slave breeding plantations. Anybody know about the history of slaves being bred?
I'm familiar with that, but I'm trying to see what does this have to do with this short?
Well, they would have one guy who would sit and have sex with 100 women or 50 women in the same day or whatever, because they were trying to get him to reproduce as much as possible. Well, a lot of black men carry that mindset, and it ruins your life. A man that does not have sexual discipline is never going to be a successful man. If you need to stick what into every girl's vagina within a 100-mile radius, and you think that somehow that makes you more of a man, I dare to challenge that, because most men who live like that don't end up with happy or successful lives. Most of those.
Now, I have a different perspective on this. Okay, I said this before on my podcast, that us as men, we're designed for the purpose of procreation. Right? Our hormones is different from women. Okay. The reason why is because we're designed to want to procreate. We're designed to want to ejaculate our sperm to create something. I also made a point to say this, is that this is the reason why it is unhealthy for men to not be able to properly release their semen or sperm, whatever. The reason why, because it causes health issues. This is also the reason why our body naturally would release or secrete that our sperm and stuff through what we call wet dreams for that purpose. And the reason why it does that is because we as men are designed to automatically procreate. That is a normal biological function for us to do. Now, there are cases where men have a very, very high sex drive. Women, there are some cases where women are the same as well too. But however, talking about men, there are cases where they have a very high sex drive, and so they need to secrete more than usual, okay? And sometimes by them being in a monogamous relationship, it just isn't enough, because sometimes that woman cannot keep up with the supply and demand. Hence, where you get these polygamous relationships from. Hence, also, when you look at back in the ancient days and stuff, where you had certain type of kings who had a queen, but he also had concubines. The reason why he had that is because that particular king sex drive was very, very high, and he needed to go ahead and release that. And also, it was beneficial for the lineage of his kingdom to go ahead and procreate with as many women as possible. Okay? Now, when you look at modern time right now, especially with modern religion and other ideology, they will look at that as being immoral. Okay? For a man to go around and sleep with multiple women, and also have multiple children from multiple different women. They'll look at that as being immoral. Hence, for example, like with Future, a lot of people look at Future as the epitome of being a pookie, but they don't understand that Future has a high sex drive, meaning that he got to secrete that sperm in his mind. His sex drive is so high that he got to release his sperm out. It doesn't feel good unless he's releasing the sperm out, unless he's ejaculated into a woman. That's why he got on kids. So you got to understand the psychology behind why they do what they do. Now, do I agree with it? I don't, for moral purposes, but I understand the reasoning why. And I believe Boyce, he needs to at least understand the reason why it is so. Okay.
And end up broke from all the child support, or they end up diseased. And ladies, if you think that that's a measure of masculinity, then you should be very thoughtful as well, because these men will infect you with an STD and kill you. So that's the first thing that I want to kind of address. So when he says Boyce didn't hit it, you're damn right. Boyce didn't hit it. Boyce has had the women that he wanted. I have never struggled to, when I was younger, it was a little harder because I didn't really know how to talk to girls. I ain't gonna lie. But when I became rich and had a PhD and was known around the world, there was no shortage of women Boyce could have dated. I literally married the woman of my dreams. I don't know if Antoine married the woman of his dreams. I don't know if he married a lady he met 20 years ago or something, but whatever, or something. I don't know. Maybe he's not happy with his life, but but that assumption about his life is not the one you can make in mind. Boyce is okay.
See, once again, I was going to speak about the ad humming them attacks, but I can't defend Anton because Anton been taking shots at him and his wife. So,
but then the second
him and Boyce's wife. So,
piece that he mentions is he talks about the woman that's kind of slept around and who the hell are you to even think that you could sit with kings because you've slept with all these men have had sex with you. The problem I have with that, and tell me if you noticed this, is that unfortunately there's a lot of men who don't understand one basic idea. How many of you have heard this? And give me a yes or no. How many of you have heard some of the men that talk like that say, well, we just hold women accountable. Women need to be held accountable. Women need to be held accountable. Has anybody heard that? Like we just
hell yeah, I say that all the time on this channel. Ain't that's right, Constance Urban say that all the time. Yeah, y'all need to hold y'all women accountable for the modern day bull crap that y'all do all the time, don't I? I sure the hell do. But I also say the same thing about them Betty Mel Simpson, them Pookies too. Sure do. And I have to admit that Anton does the same as that thing. He normally hold these modern day women accountable, but he do hold men accountable as well too. Sure do.
Women just don't like, they just mad because they don't want to be held accountable. And I get it. There's a lot of women that don't want to be held accountable. But one thing about accountability is that accountability starts at home. Accountability starts at home, brother. So if you can't hold yourself accountable, how the fuck are you going to hold women accountable?
Okay, I was with him on the point about the accountability part, but when he started talking about accountability start at home, it's almost as though he insinuating that Anton doesn't hold himself accountable. It's almost furthermore that he insinuating that Anton have problems in his personal life. Do we know that? No. Is it safe to assume that? I mean, you could, but is it true? We don't know. So
seriously, you will, if you watch their videos carefully, you will hear them talk extensively about how many kids a woman has, how many women a woman has slept with, or how many men a woman has slept with, what a woman's doing with her life, and the status of her situation. But not one single time do you hear them challenging men in the same way.
That's not true.
Never once do you even make a basic conclusion. You don't understand the basic idea that you do understand that whenever there's a single mother, there's a man that made that baby. How often?
Which a lot of men, well, I know, me personally, I know I do that. And I know without a shadow of doubt by watching on Anton Daniels on shows that he do hold men accountable. He do. He have a certain disdain for Pookies and Ray Rays, just like I do.
Do you hear these men who attack the women say anything about these motherfuckers that are making kids and abandoning their children? The same guy who created 5 single mothers will literally be in the chat saying, that's why I don't date no single mothers. I ain't date no single. So you run around infecting women, infecting them with unwanted pregnancies, infecting them with STDs. And
since when is ejaculating your sperm is an infection? I get the STD part, but okay.
Then you're talking shit about the very same women that you infected. Brother, something's wrong with you. You don't understand the accountability equation that makes sense. So again, some people, right? I think that people who've made good choices in their lives and put themselves in a good situation, they haven't devalued themselves by just spreading their bodies all over the place. They ain't walking around with all kinds of diseases and financial problems, everything else that comes with that. People like that, you should find somebody that matches that, right? You have the right to say, well, because I didn't have any kids and my credit is good and my income is high and I've taken care of my body, I want somebody who does the same thing. I get that. But a lot of these guys are losers. A lot of these dudes, not all of them. I don't know much about Anton and his situation. I'm sure he's made some money on YouTube and all that. But I don't know. I think, from what I understand, I think his mother was a single mother for a while. I think his father might have died. I give my condolences for that. But if your mama was out here as a single mother and dealing with guys like you telling other men that single mothers are not worth their time, I don't know how you would feel about that. I don't know.
I know exactly how the way I feel about this. Same way how I feel about Iran right now. Uh, like I did a podcast earlier today talking about encouraging younger men do not date single mothers. They're not worth your time. Do not date a single mother because their whole mindset is totally different. I always say this, that it is better off for single mothers to date single fathers so y'all could have a blended family. You have way more probable chance for their relationship to flourish versus it being a single man going into a relationship with a single mother, trying to sit up here and pretend to be stepdaddy to the kids that is not even his. The situation is not a good deal at all, period. And I also said it vice versa. It could be a single woman who's trying to date a single father. I said no, it is not a good idea. That is not a good deal. It is not. It's better off for you to be two single people without no children and date and get into a relationship and get married versus it being the other way around, what I'm telling y'all. Because it's just not desirable and it's just not a good idea to do that, because there's a lot of factors that happen to that. Financial factors, emotional factors, all kind of stuff that happens in that situation. So no, I'll tell them straight up, no, I don't care. I don't care if my mom was a single mother or not. I don't care. I don't care if I was brought up being in a single mother household. Who cares? No, it is not a good, desirable situation, period.
Again, I don't know the situation with his mother. I could have sworn he mentioned something about his father passing. His mother was a single mother. And I think that would be very unfortunate for somebody to have judged his mother the way he's judging other people's mothers, right? And the thing,
and I like this argument that he's using too. Basically, what he's trying to do, he's trying to use an emotional argument to try to want to trigger people to think like, okay, how would you feel if somebody was talking about your mama like that? In reality, they're not technically talking about your mama like doing the dozens. You know what I'm saying? Like, your mama fat, your mama ugly, your mama, they're not doing that. They pointing out a behavior. Now, if your mama fits into that mold, that behavior, if the shoe fits, then wear it. If it doesn't apply to you, then let it fly. It is that simple. You can't equate everyone's situation into this umbrella, which people in this space understand that, they know that. I also understand that, once again, when there be people in the chats and stuff, you have a variety of different people in the chat. You may have some people who think just like me and Anton in the chat, who are mature, who done been through the fire and you done level up and everything. You know what I'm saying? Where you have a different perspective. Then you also have people in the chat who's not on that level yet. Understand that, okay? Even though that situation happened, it is nothing wrong with that, for the simple fact that you have people like myself and Anton and other people in the spaces where we're educating them. Not to the point where we're educating, teaching them to hate women. We're teaching and educating them on the behavior of these certain type of archetype of women. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. That's all. We're not telling you to form a He-Man woman hater club and just say, I hate women, period. No. That's what them incels do. No. We're only pointing out the simple behavior of these said type of archetype of women they're doing. And we know good aware that all women doesn't fit into that category, all right? But sometimes when people just hear the content, they just assume that we talk about every woman, when in reality, we're really not.
thing that I think as Black people we have to understand is that YouTube entertainment it's entertainment, and it's sometimes it's hurtful entertainment. And because you have such a traumatized community, you have people that build their whole platforms by being as outrageous, as clownish, and as hurtful as they can possibly be. Why can't you build a platform by empowering black men? Why can't you build a platform by empowering black families? Why can't you build platforms by saying positive things that's going to elevate people? Why must the platform be built by being one of the few groups of people on the planet, the black man? We're identified with this. The African American male is one of the few people on the planet that is known for bashing the shit out of their women. Like,
Let me also address this too. I used to think this the same way with how the way what Boyce is talking about. I used to think that why is it that we as black people, well, whenever we in these social media spaces, when we put up these type of content, why we got to do these content that's about drama? Why we gotta do this content about knowing about drama? Why we gotta go to the extreme of doing things such as cyberbullying and doxing and different things like that? I used to think the same exact way. Like, why not we just come up with positive content? Why not we all just come together and just put some quality content that really matters? Why not we do that? But I started learning something about social media. I started learning about how the behavior of people operate. I want to don't switch screen. I want to give y'all something to think about, okay? We believe that since we have morals, right, or some of us have moral compasses or whatever, we believe that we are 100% good all the time. We really do. Hell, be times that I believe that, but that's not reality. The truth of the matter is this, is that we're not good all the time. We're not. We are capable of becoming as toxic and as destructive as possible. The reason why I say this is because let the right situation come. Let the right situation happen. When that right situation happens, guess what? It's going to immediately take you out of your moral compass. It's going to take you out of your belief system. And guess what? You're going to be in this negative, toxic mindset. Hell, as a matter of fact, Constance just said it a few moments ago. She said this. She said, people could joke with my mom and daddy. They want to, nobody respects my mom and dad, then we're going to have a problem. Now, I know Constance, she has a moral compass. She has morality. She has certain things that bring balance to her, to bring her balance and bring her peace in her life. So certain things that bring her balance and peace in life, whether it's religion or wherever the case may be. But at the same time, when you get tested and tried, right, with the things that you care about the most, guess what? We're going to end up forgetting our morality. We're going to end up forgetting our moral compass, and we're going to do what is known as justice. In reality, justice doesn't have a moral compass. Justice do not have a moral compass at all, period. Justice is justice. Justice could be either beneficial or it could be destructive, depending on how the way you look at it. Now, am I condoning bad behavior? No, I'm not. All I'm doing is giving y'all a different perspective about it, okay? Just give you a different perspective to make you think about this, all right? Because I had to like really think about this from a broader perspective instead of seeing it from my tunnel vision perspective or how Boyce is seeing it as well too, as a tunnel vision perspective that we hope that certain situations be the way we want it to be. But in reality, it just isn't that way because different people think differently. This also the reason why whenever I talk about situations like this, when I talk about even the things happening on YouTube, the cyberbullying, the doxing, and different things like that, and I see people literally doing it, this is the reason why I don't say nothing about it. The reason why I ultimately don't say nothing about it or I don't even intervene in none of it is because this very reason. And because at the end of the day, I have a different enlightenment about it. I honestly do. I know that whenever you push a people a certain way, their karma is going to activate. I know that. I understand that. So that's why I don't say nothing about it. Okay. It just is what it is. The reason why I'm bringing this to y'all attention is once again, this is based on what Boyce is talking about. He believed that things should be this way, but that's not how life operates. There's a such thing as a yin and a yang. There's a such thing as good as well as such thing as evil. This is the whole reason why we have the whole concept about God and we have the whole concept about the devil or Satan. Because it has to be a balance. It can't be straight good all the time without some type of controversy or adversity happening. Likewise, it can't be no adversity happening all the time without something positive coming behind it. Okay? I learned that everything has a purpose and everything balances itself out for a reason. And I learned that whenever I see these totally differences, I learned that at the end of the day, it completes the circle of life. So I understand where Boyce is coming from. Believe me. I was on that trip at one point in time in my life too. But when I started understanding more about how the way things are, I see things differently. And so what I do with myself personally is that I continue to enlighten myself. I continue to mature myself into a higher level of understanding for me. I also learned that I can't change people at all, period. I can't make people do nothing they don't want to do. But however, I can give them wisdom and understanding on how the way to deal with it. That's it. That's all I can do. Nothing more, nothing less. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there to y'all real quick. We finna get ready to get back into the content. Constance said that she said on every Yang line about people being on YouTube, nothing but drama, mess, and it's just childish. Then she said, some black people don't like all the drama and messy shit, and you have some people that loves it. Facts. I agree. Everybody, like you said, people will test you. Yep. Facts. They will. And last, she said this. It's a difference between disrespect and respect, which I totally agree. Everything she said, I agree. I agree. But we have to come in. I believe that we have to come into that level of understanding, that enlightenment, that at the end of the day, the only people that you can want to change is yourself. And that's the understanding I came with it. That's why, even it's situations that are happening right now on the YouTube street. People want me to really say something about it, but the reason why I don't is because at the end of the day, it's irrelevant to me. And quite frankly, I really don't care at all because I see the bigger picture about everything, the whole entire cycle of it all. You know what I'm saying? So it is. Now, if there be things personally said about me, then by all means, yeah, I will address it. Y'all know I will. I will definitely address it on my time when I feel like it. But let's continue. Once again, appreciate everybody who tuned into the stream right now. Now, make sure you hit that thumbs up as you're coming in. Right now, we're reviewing the debate between Boyce Watkins and Anton Daniels. Anton Daniels haven't stepped on the stage yet because we're still going through Boyce Watkins' first introductory monologue. All right? So let's go ahead.
Literally just going ham in terms of disrespecting black women at every turn. Saying that because you have a single mother, or because you are a single mother, something's wrong with you. And I think Anton's in the chat. You know what, man? I'm gonna say this, bro. You can actually. That's great. I'm glad he's here. I'm glad you're here.
So at this point, Anton pulled up on the show. Anton said, shoot, you got me like all the way messed up. I'm pulling up, homie. So Anton said this.
It's just fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit.
So one thing that I do respect about Anton is that whenever he find out that someone is doing some type of commentary about him, that dude will pull up. He have no problem with pulling up on you and having that conversation. There's other type of men that sit up here talk they know us right, and they would not pull up at all. They would not do it. They'll sit up here talk their nose. As a matter of fact, not only they'll talk their nose behind an avatar. Like, what the hell? Like, you talking all their nose behind an avatar. Why? Because if you want to have a conversation, you don't have to talk behind the avatar. Come up. Let me see your facial reaction. That's how real men talk. I'm just saying.
You should we should get online together. I don't know how to get in touch. Put your email address in here somewhere, or I don't know how we can connect. But I would be happy to debate you about this because I don't understand your platform. I really don't. I don't understand where the win is. I don't see. Here's the thing that I would tell.
And here's another thing that Boyce is doing, and he's up here lying. He talking about he don't understand this platform. Boyce to watch Anton shows. Yeah, he have. And I don't like it when people do that. I don't like when people sit up here lying. We start talking about, I never watch your stuff, so I don't know what's going on. Stop lying. You know you watch some of my stuff, or you know you watch some of his stuff to want to understand what's going on, to understand the whole logistics of it, at least. So come on, you don't have to do that.
You and I'm glad he's here because I went on his page and I responded to him because I believe men should talk. I don't think men should be afraid to talk.
So he also admitted that he went on to yep. That's why I say he was lying. Did y'all not hear what he said? He said that he went on to his page and responded to him. But he just said a few seconds ago that he don't look at his content. So if you don't look at his content, then why are you going onto his page responding to him? Liar, boy. Boy.
It's just fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit.
I'll let y'all hear that one more time.
They're women. Like literally just going ham in terms of disrespecting black women at every turn. Saying that because you have a single mother, or because you are a single mother, something's wrong with you. And I think Anton's in the chat. You know what, man? I'm gonna say this, bro. You can actually. That's great. I'm glad he's here. I'm glad you're here. You should. We should get online together. I don't know how to get in touch. Put your email address in here somewhere, or I don't know how we can connect. But I would be happy to debate you about this because I don't understand your platform. I really don't. I don't understand where the win is. I don't see. Here's the thing that I would tell you, and I'm glad he's here because I went on his page and I responded to him because I believe
he went on his page and he responded to him after he said he don't understand platform and you don't watch it.
Men should talk. I don't think men should be afraid to talk to each other. He says, let's do it now. You know what? Tell me where to send the link and I'll bring you in, man. I think that will be a lot. I think that will be a great.
So Anton said, let's do it right now. And I'm for it. I am for it tonight.
Conversation. Because here's the thing. In my view, a side of masculinity is when you can build yourself up without tearing other people down. I think that as black men, we can make ourselves strong without degrading and debasing and demeaning our women. Attacking our women does not make us look good.
And I'm still confused on the point that Boyce is believing that the content in the manosphere space, if that's what you want to call it, right? That is attacking women. In reality, it's really not. It's really not.
Maybe you can encourage women. Maybe you can help them get better. Maybe you can help them understand, some truths about the choices they make. I see the same women you do. I love black women, but I know black women ain't perfect. But I also know that my mother was a single mother. And I know that my mother was a single mother because my daddy was a drug addict.
And that's the reason why he is defending single mothers, because through his own personal anecdotal experience, he experienced his mom raising him and his siblings on her own. And so she's seen it. So he's seen that reality to the point that he see his mom as a superhero. So he see the reflection of his mom with every single woman out there, which that is a unrealistic expectation, because of reality, every single woman out there is not your mom. They're not. Every single woman out there do not have that same type of mindset as your mom. They don't. And them the type of women that we talk about in this space. We're not talking about women like your mom who stepped up and did what she had to do to take care of you. And as a matter of fact, I believe he said that eventually his mom ended up getting married to his stepfather, and the stepfather took him in as well too, and teach him how to be a man, different things like that. Which nothing wrong with that, okay? But once again, he have to understand that. Well, whenever these men in the spaces talk about that, they're not talking about your mom. They're talking about the behavior of these modern day women who doesn't act like your mom. Okay.
It was the man's fault that my mother was raising me by herself when I was 2 or 3. It wasn't her fault. It wasn't because she was a whore and a worthless piece of shit. My mother was raising me by herself because she was the fucking person that took responsibility. She was the one that took responsibility while my daddy, my biological father, was off getting high. So a lot of these run off and get high Negroes are the very same ones who are hiding under this cloak of accountability. I call it the cloak of accountability, the disguise. They really need to come out the closet. They need to come out the closet because they're hiding under this cloak of accountability. Well, we hold women accountable. And these are guys that are just like my biological father, who was so busy getting high that he didn't take care of his son. He created a single mother and ran off, and she cleaned up his mess. And then a real man came along and took his place. See, y'all don't understand the whole story. My father that raised me, who I give credit for being my father. I'm looking for Anton's comment. I want to bring you in, brother. So I don't know how we can get in touch, but literally, in fact, I'll give you an email. Email me at Boyce@BoyceWatkins.com. You send me an email, I'll send you the link back. I will invite you right in here because I think we should have a conversation. My father that raised me went to my biological father, who was coming in and out of my life when I was a baby. And he pulled up on him in a car. He had a shotgun in the front seat of the car. And he said, that woman and that child is my responsibility now. You don't need to come around no more. Because the problem was he was coming in and out, ducking in and out, breaking my mother's heart, not holding up his responsibility or whatever. And he
hold on, boys. Wait a minute. You just said earlier that your dad was out doing drugs or whatever, right? He was doing zero responsibility. And now all of a sudden the story's starting to change to where it appears that your biological father was attempting to try to be in your life. Okay. The reason why this sounds suspicious is because this is the type of typical situation that, we talk about in this space, is that sometimes these type of modern day women be having this type of behavior, right, where they will find a dude, right, or even find a simp like dude to come and take over the responsibility because they don't want to deal with it. They'll find the simplest dude possible to do that. Then they'll sit up here and give this dude the best sex possible, whatever, and literally manipulate this dude thinking that the biological father is the problem. But in reality, the biological father isn't the problem. It was her who's the problem. It was her who was always the problem because she had a experience with him and that relationship ended up breaking up for whatever case may be, or as he said, he kept breaking her heart or whatever, however way she put it. And she still placed the blame on that dude. Now, if this dude was a bum, pookie dude who didn't care, he wouldn't come around and try to be with the children. Hell, he wouldn't even try to come around and try to be with his mom because he know he got options. So that's what I'm saying. That situation, I ain't lying. That sounds kind of suspect. Then also you saying that your stepdad pulled up with a shotgun and stuff and tell them you ain't gonna come around no more. That seems kind of weird to me. That's suspect to me. But go ahead.
He came in and did one of the most masculine things I think a person could do, where he said, "This is my son. I'm gonna make sure that he's good." And what I'm saying is that why can't we also applaud those men that are not looking for somebody to blame, but are actually looking for chances to make the community better? Okay. Now Anton said he sent the email, so I'm gonna go look for your email, man. I'd be happy to talk to you. I look forward to talking it out as opposed to this nonsense, man. Talking back and forth on YouTube, that's chatty patty bullshit. I don't like to do that. I didn't do that with Kwame Brown. I'm not gonna do that with you. So but I'm glad, but I respect you for the fact that you are man enough to come in here. So I think that's good. We can talk it out directly. Me and Corey Holcomb talked it out on Willie D's channel because that's what men do. This whole stuff about like I'm gonna make.
See, another thing that Boyce does, he always uses these type of ad hominems to try to throw personal shots at people. But when it comes down to the point of having that conversation that happens that way, I'm be real about it. Boyce do not stand his ground on the things that he say. He don't. That dude fold. That dude would fold so darn fast because he did it with Corey Holcomb. He did it with Kwame Brown. I'm pretty sure he's going to get ready to do it with Anton Daniels. He did it with a lot of people, man. Willie D, he did it with a lot of people. A lot of people do that. Talk all they know us, but when it come down to it, he'll simply fold up to well, I just want us to all get along. We're brothers. We need to be brothers and all kind of crazy stuff. Now, stay in your square. If you say what you said, mean what you say. Period.
A YouTube video about you is BS. And every single person, and I want to say this too, as I send the link to Anton, every single person that has ever disagreed with me on YouTube, I have offered to talk to that person directly. If I go to an event, like Umar Johnson hasn't liked me for a long time. It goes way back. Don't worry about why. But every time Umar's at an event and I'm at the same event, I say, hey, bring him in here. I'll talk to him. And Umar's the guy who's afraid to talk to me or doesn't have I don't know what's going on with that. Roland Martin, same thing. Roland Martin and I haven't gotten along for about 10 years. Roland is is the guy where I'm like, well, bring him in so we can talk it out. I want to know why he's so upset with me, but Roland doesn't want to. He's not interested or whatever, and it's okay. It's their right to do.
I actually attended an event with Roland Martin over a year. Probably like 2 years ago, I attended an event where Word was at. Matter of fact, I shared it with y'all on this channel that I was at this event. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be straight up 100% real with y'all. Roland Martin is an asshole for real. In real life, Roland Martin is really an asshole for real in real life. He really is. He really is. He's I give it to him for his intelligence, his competence as far as being a journalist. Different things like that. I give him that, but for us, his behavior-wise, that dude is an asshole for real, like straight up he is. That dude be sitting up here talking to people crazy and doing all kind of weird stuff, man. I ain't lying, but that's another story for another time.
But I want y'all to know that there will never be a person I'll talk about on this channel.
And yeah, I met Roland Martin, by the way.
That I would not talk to directly. And so I'm going to bring Anton in. Anton. I keep saying Antoine. I'm going to bring him in. I'm going to let him speak his piece. And we can talk it out. This is something new. This is something rare. We don't really do that much on this channel. All right, so let's see here. I actually really like you, Boyce. You give good financial advice, but you're wrong about dating in Black relationships. Okay, it's your right to think that. I agree. But I'm asking you, what's the solution? That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for people that can keep identifying the problem. I'm a mathematician. We solve problems. We don't just complain about them. So it looks like Anton's in here. So, Anton, I'm going to bring you in. So
here we go.
Here we go. So everybody welcome Anton and let's treat him with respect. Let's hear what the brother has to say.
This dude, Boyce was up here talking as though his crowd was just going to roast Anton, but he had a rude awakening coming because his audience wasn't Boyce audience at all. 90% of his audience was the bad chaser audience. They came in strong on that dude, for real.
What? Hey, brother, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. So welcome to the channel. It's good to finally meet you in person. So I assume that you have some things to say. So I'm gonna go ahead and just be quiet and give you the floor.
First and foremost, let me say I appreciate you for letting me come on a platform and even being able to have this conversation, because I think it's important, because we just fundamentally disagree on a lot of different things. First, let me say that I remember all of the times where you were throwing shots, Boyce. You threw a lot of shots in a lot of the different red pill content spaces. You throw comments inside of Instagram posts that's specifically referencing me on videos that they repost to me. You throw ad hominem attacks like, oh man, he must be cross-eyed or stuff like that. And that's cool. I don't have any problems with that, because it's cool. We all content creators and people are going to get shots. But then you can't complain on the other side when people reference you, because you always playing victim, or you always trying to act like you don't understand why people have a problem with you. It's because you do things like that, but then you want to sit here and posture and say, well, we should all talk like men. You started it. You absolutely started it.
Anton coming in hot on them boys. And what he's saying is true. It's everything that I said earlier. Anton is just confirming it. All right, but let's continue.
And so when other people start to get shine, or when other people's message start to resonate with other men, then you throw shots instead of having a conversation with them. So I appreciate you for even allowing for me to come on a platform and have this conversation in the first place, because I think that, you need to check that. You do a lot of that when you talk about empowerment, but you always throw shots at different content creators. But then when it's time to have a conversation in the past, you say, well, I'm not paying attention to it. I don't really reference it. It's not a big deal. I think that's not right. That's not right, boys. And then you wonder why people.
You actually make.
Go ahead.
You made a great point. You really exposed me with that, because you're right. Sometimes I go in the land of petty. Like, I think, for example, and it really is, it is a type of hypocrisy that I've always had to confront, because it's like I had, and you're not the first person I've had that kind of disagreement with. Kwame Brown really had a problem. I mean, this dude made 12 videos or something in a row about me. I didn't watch any of them. So that part about ignoring it, I really do ignore it.
Here you go again, saying that he didn't watch people content. If he, oh my God, boys. Once again, if you never watched his content, then how you know he made videos on you, all right? Without you going to that dude page and seeing it for yourself. You can't sit up here and like say, well, my fans told me about it. And I know that Boyce is a man of integrity. I could tell without shadow of doubt. So based on him being a man of integrity, right, he's not going to believe what people say. He's going to find out on his own. So once again, this own up, bro. Own up to what you're saying.
I want to focus, but if you really look at it, I said his name first instead of, and I wasn't trying to insult him, but I said his name, he got offended, and that was the reaction. So you could be right. I've been accused of being a provocateur before. And so first off, I want to acknowledge that and even apologize for that. But then second of all,
I don't think it warrants an apology, because we are content creators. The only thing that I'm saying is, if you dish it out, you just got to be willing to take it back. I say
facts. See, and that's why I was telling y'all earlier about this thing that Boyce does, right? It's almost like this. It's almost like he's that kid who set up her growl the rock and throw it at you and hit you inside the head with the rock, then hide his back and say he did it, instead of taking accountability for it. Everything that he said, like them ad hominems attack or whatever, that's own up and just submit like, yeah, I did it. And I said what I said. I mean what I said. That's own up to it. You get way more respect for you just being real about it as a man to say, yeah, I didn't did that, I didn't attack you, I didn't say that, you look cockeyed and stuff, whatever. Just own up to that. Just like with Anton, he admitted that he said the stuff that he was saying about Boyce. So he had no problem with it. He ain't gonna take none of that back because he meant what he said.
A lot of things because other people are content creators.
And no, you don't have to apologize for that. Unless you just that weak where you allow a person that you don't even know to hurt your feelings to that point where you feel like you're entitled to an apology.
So I'm going to critique their position on different subjects. And then I notice that they get offended. But people say stuff about, I'm not tripping about it. It's just a part of the game. I understand that that's what comes with the territory. So I don't have any problem with you doing it. I just don't want you to be a victim. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, in other words, he don't want him to have that victim mentality like a lot of people do. Not only Boyce does this. I've seen a lot of content creator that does the very same thing. They like to throw shots all the time, every single time. They like to want to throw shots at people. They like to throw shots at people every single time. Every single time. But when that person return the fire on them, then all of a sudden they're a victim. Own up to what you say and what you do, period. If you're going to go into this little path for drama, then you need to own up to your drama. Don't play a victim. Own up to it. Yeah, I did it. Sure did. I did it because you did X, Y, Z. That's why. Or you said X, Y, Z. You own up to that. You stand your square.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, I don't see myself as a victim. I understand where you're coming from with that. I mean, I don't look at it as like, woe is me. I think it's more so, I'm thinking more so about the fact that it seems to me that we can't have this conversation about dating and relationships without it somehow sounding like we're getting clicks and views by bashing Black women. And I know that it's not all women, and I get it, but I don't see the same level of accountability being pushed toward the men as the women. And I believe it's because the men are the ones that are promoting the content and giving the clicks and views, and because you're affirming everything they believe, that nothing's their fault, that it's always the women this and women that. I see the same shit you see. I see the same community you see. I avoid the same women you might avoid, but I think that we have a community that needs healing and support, not one where we got millions of men that are just talking crazy about like single mothers. Like, what the fuck is wrong with like every single mother is not a hoe. Some of them literally got abandoned by some raggedy ass Negro who didn't handle his responsibility. We don't talk about that.
We do talk about it. We've been talking about it for the past 50 years. Guys by default have always been held accountable, largely for the things that they do because we don't have a safety net. But when we speak, of course, there's going to be the anomaly. Of course, there's going to be the woman who was widowed. Of course, there's going to be a lot of different women that are in certain circumstances. But when we speak to the majority. We don't speak to the minority. And statistically speaking, the overwhelming majority of women are having babies with a small minority of men. Let's say, for example, that you hold every guy accountable, because contrary to popular belief, I'm much harder on guys than I am on women. I am absolutely, positively dedicated to building men. As a matter of fact, I'm an advocate for dick discipline. I don't advocate for guys to be out here spreading their seed. I'm a reflection of the thing that I advocate for. And I'll get into my family history in a little bit. But in a general sense, I'm much harder on men than I am on women. But we live in a society where women have advocated for equal. They've advocated for equal when it comes to what benefits them, but not advocating for equal when it comes to holding themselves accountable for the decisions that they make, right? So now that they have a platform, and we've let women have a platform for a long time, now that men are starting to speak to their issues, we have to call a spade a spade. And the reality is that I can hold every single guy accountable, and every single guy can clean up their mess in their life. But it only takes a percentage of 1% of men to then get with all of the women that then choose this exact same type of guy, have a child by him, but then they'll start to hold all men accountable for the idea that they chose wrong, because they know that they should not be opening their legs and carrying before they marry.
And that's facts. And that's what a lot of people, including myself, say in these spaces, that you have to hold yourself accountable for simply because you had chose wrong. I say this quite often that it's very important for us to vet out each other prior before entering into a full relationship with each other. That's for both men and women. And I believe that we don't do that properly. We don't properly vet out each other. We really don't. And the reason why I believe that is because we don't know how to ask the right questions. When we be in these situations, we want that person to accept us so bad that we're not willing to ask the correct questions to see if this person even qualify for your time. That is facts. And so, vetting out the wrong dude, and you allow this dude instant access to you, right? Next thing you know, you're pregnant. Next thing you know, you're having a situation where what Boyce is talking about having a pookie father or whatever, what the case may be. For the simple fact that woman didn't vet out. And one last thing I want to say before we continue is this. I'm going to say this before, I'm going to say this again. And these dudes in this Red Pill manosphere space, they don't agree with me on this, but I'm just being real about it. Women control not only the access to sex, but they also control the access to relationship, period. I'm just saying.
And so when we start to have these conversations, we have to have them holistically. You can't just say, okay, well, what about the guy? We always talk about the guy. We've been talking about the guy since the beginning of time. They won't even advocate for updating family court laws that were created at a time where women didn't even have rights to choose for themselves or be able to have the opportunities to have the jobs that they have. But they advocate against updating family court laws, but then advocate for making sure that they can choose and do what they want to do, but then advocate against being able to be held accountable for the decisions that they make. And that's ultimately creating so much chaos as far as the type of women that are then determining what's happening in our elections, the type of men that they're raising that ultimately is affecting what's happening in the laws that's happening in our schools. All of the things that we have as far as men being able to say, okay, well, I'm going to be held accountable for the fact that I chose this woman or I had children with this woman, which the overwhelming majority of single men don't have children out of wedlock. That's a statistical fact. More men don't have children out of wedlock versus single baby mamas. But then we advocate for cleaning up the community. I don't believe personally that the goal is to make sure that we remix families and remix the core of what it takes in order to be successful when it comes to creating families and coming together. I think that we need to go back and hit the reset button and start to say, okay, wait a minute. We shouldn't be having children out of wedlock instead of enabling bad behavior by saying, okay, well, wait a minute. Some guy should come up and clean up the mess of another guy. Because what about him? What about the guy that took care of his business, was on top of things, did not have children out of wedlock, made sure that he leveled up and took care of his business? If we care about him, why would we say, hey, you need to go and get with a woman that then messed up her life instead of pairing him with a woman that's more closely or equally yoked with the direction of his life that he's going in? Why should it be the responsibility of somebody that didn't create that situation instead of holding a person accountable that did, like we do to men every day since we live in a society where we've advocated for feminism and equality, especially equality with regard to decision and what you can choose to do as far as for a living? Why should guys have to bear that brunt instead of be held accountable, holding accountable the ones that's actually making the decisions to get pregnant?
Now I hear what you're saying. I mean, I think that if you want my take on feminism, I'm not really into any of what has happened in our community for the last 50 years, right? So
Wait a minute. Hold on, Boyce. You mean to tell me that even though you're dealing with, the social economic factor, and by you dealing with the social economic factor of the Black community, you never factor in about the behavior, preferably about feminism? Come on now, Boyce. Come on, man. Behavior is just as a factor as finances in the Black community. Because if you don't understand the behavior of how things going, that it don't matter how much money you bring into the Black community, it's going to be destructive. It's going to be destroyed. So you have to factor in now that you just can't factor in just only finances, period. It has to be everything, including behavior, everything.
You are correct in that the choices are being made in the wrong way. I think that where I want to kind of add to that and try to understand this better is why is it that we would say, for example, look at a child as somebody else's mess to clean up? I married a woman that had 3 kids, as a lot of people seem to know, and it wasn't because the father was a piece of shit. It's because they got a divorce for whatever reason. I work with the father to raise the kids. I love the kids. I consider children to be an asset. I love, I could have married. You and I both are guys who have a little bit of money. You know how it is. You got a little bit of money. You could pick from the litter. I could have got a woman 25 years younger than me and had a newborn baby. I just didn't want to have a newborn baby. I like mentoring kids. These kids have helped me make millions of dollars because they helped me run my business. This is fun for me. So why is it that we would go out and tell men, don't be no step baby daddy. Don't be no, I think I used crash dummy or something like that. I honor those men. Let's seriously like
See, the reason why is because just like what Boyce said, he was leading off with his money. Okay, that is not necessarily the one majority of men out there. Majority of the men out there do not have a PhD. Majority of the men out there are not six-figure earners. Would put them in the top 10 or even 5% or even 1%. That is not the reality. Okay. Majority of men out there, they are basically what you call blue collar or white collar workers. Okay. Majority of men out there, when they earn, they median range comes almost nearly up to about 80,000 a year, and that's on the high end. So whenever you factor that in, right? These type of women, like the woman you said, right? She. Let's be real about it. Let's be real about you and your wife. The reason why you married your wife is because she decided that you was next. She decided that she no longer didn't want to deal with her children's father at the level that she was dealing with, and she chose you to be next. That is what it is. She chose you. Because other than that, you would have never been with her. Let's be real about it. You never would have been with her.
I really have admiration for the men who say, you know what, I didn't make this mess, but it's my community. I'm gonna clean up. If I see a piece of trash in my neighborhood, I'm not gonna be like, well, that's not my trash. Somebody got to go pick this up. I'm not picking it up because it's not my responsibility. No, I think it's all of our responsibility, right? Because you are right. You what you said earlier, I agree with that 100%. That the studies show that women are attracted to the top 10% of men. And you got some of those men in that top 10% that fuck everything, impregnate everything, passing all the disease, all that, right? So that's got to be dealt with. But I don't necessarily always look at it all as just like, okay, all these women were just stupid.
Oh, let me correct this too. There's some out there on survey, right? Talking about women are attracted to the top percent, right? In reality, it really don't have nothing to do with the percentage. A woman is ideally attracted to a man who's at a who's at a higher social economic status than her. That's the reality. So let's say, for example, a woman is making $50,000 a year, right? If she find out that this dude is making $51,000 a year, she's gonna be attracted to that dude because he's at a higher social economic status than her. He be at 52,000. He be at 60,000. Long as it's higher than her, she's gonna be attracted to that dude. She can make 20,000 a year, and that dude can make 25,000 a year. Long as he's higher than her, then she's gonna be attracted to that dude financially. That's how the way it works for us behavior wise.
Sometimes they literally fall in love with the guy and they really think it's going to work out. And maybe their daddy nobody taught them how to discern between the two. I just think that attacking is not the best approach. I think that we can build without having a scapegoat. I feel like the single black mother is what's the scapegoat. It started with the Kevin Samuels thing when he realized how many views he was going to get. Remember, Kevin Samuels did content for years. Nobody paid attention. It wasn't until he told that poor lady that she's going to die alone, which she probably already knew that shit anyway. That was when he started doubling down on that. And I'm like, why you got to go
That's not
tell people
true.
they're going to die alone? If they know they're going to die alone, they're going to die alone. Let them deal with that. It's not our job to be like, well, because
It's
you are a
absolutely our job.
35-year-old black woman and you whatever, you going to die alone. Why would we even want to be known for that kind of thing?
See, this before Anton do his rebuttal, this is a argument that at first I even had a problem with. Okay, I even had a problem with this particular argument. Now, Boyce's argument is this. His argument is that it's about how the way you say it. Okay. Once again, it's about how the way you say it. And he's using the example with Kevin Samuels. The late Kevin Samuels, he had a certain particular way where how the way he tell women the truth. Now, when Kevin Samuels first came on the scene, and when I also seen that clip in the beginning, I wasn't in agreement with it at all because I believe that what he said was very harsh. Then for me thinking that way, it started making me view all of Kevin Samuels' content as being that same exact way, based on my understanding of it, thinking that what he said was harsh. Then not to mention, he started attracting all these beta males in this chat where they kick in and laughing about it and stuff like that. It just made it worse. But it had took for me one day to just have an open mind and really understand the message that Kevin Samuels conveying. When I opened up my mind and seen the truth, the reason why Kevin Samuels said the stuff the way he said it is because he wants to give them a firm reality about how the way it truly is and how the way the world truly works. The world works like this. The world don't care about your feelings. The world don't. The only type of people that cares about your feelings is people who are part of your immediate circle, and that's it. Hell, even sometimes your immediate circle don't even care about your feelings, depending on the circumstances. Like I was saying earlier about, the cyberbullying and all the stuff there. You put people in a right, perfect situation, then they're going to turn. They're going to turn heel on you, for real. So my mindset changed about the delivery of that. I believe that his delivery was meant for a reason. It was meant for a purpose. His delivery is no different from me being a father and I'm giving structure to my children. If I don't tell them to do a certain thing in a firm way, in a firm, direct way, guess what? They're not going to take it serious. Likewise, the same way with Kevin Samuels or with other men who are in this space, including myself. If I don't tell you and tell you this in a firm way, then you're not going to take it serious. You're not. You're going to take it as a joke. You're going to take it as though what I'm saying to you is inferior to you. But that's why. And because so y'all worry about that, you good.
She called in. What do you mean? She asked for the advice. She asked him for his insight. See, the part where you're wrong is that we don't acknowledge the fact that Kev had held men accountable for years. And he was much harder on men than he was on women.
Oh,
but
yeah.
see, we only want to acknowledge the part where people start getting offended because he started holding women accountable. See, your word choice is strategic, and I understand what you do, Boyce. You use attack instead of saying being held accountable. See, we don't use the word attack when we talk to men. We just say, man up, take care of business, take ownership and responsibility for what you did, and then keep going. But we don't use that word when we apply it to women that ask for the advice of Kevin Samuels. He didn't attack anybody. He told the truth. And so it's a difference between being a truth teller and somebody that's doing it for views, because he was compensated according to what it was, which I think that he should have been compensated and he should have been much more successful earlier. But because he was compensated and he was successful as a result of it, that's what then brings out the jealousy. That's what then brings out the haters. That's what then brings out the problem, because he wasn't a problem when he was given the exact same advice, even worse to men. But let's flip over for a second. I don't think these guys are heroes of the community. I think that these guys are enabling bad behavior. Because if a woman, and they say it regularly, can go out and do what she want to do, These college campuses are nothing but indoctrination camps. They are.
I agree with that, but I've said the same thing. Go ahead.
Kirsty, salute, welcome. Salute to everybody else who are tuning into the stream. Right now, we are reviewing the debate between Boyce Watkins and Anton Daniels. All right, so make sure you hit the thumbs up as you come into the One Lounge. And if you're able to show me out as well too, because it do help out the channel a whole lot. And let's continue.
And they literally not only are indoctrination camps, but they're also a gateway into bad behavior for a lifetime of pain, meaning that they go out there, they slut it out, they get pregnant, they do what they want to do, and they even have a phase for it. They say, this is my whole phase. So instead of us holding women accountable and saying, hey, you shouldn't have a whole phase, but you should get married, because we already understand what the statistics are. You're less likely to go to jail. You're more likely to graduate college. You're less likely to need therapy. You're less likely to have problems. You're less likely to join gangs if you are raised in a two-parent household. Instead of us going back to the core of it and saying, hey, listen, I'm not going to enable your bad behavior by rewarding you with a good man that then should have been with his own family. Instead, I'm going to hold you accountable, and maybe you should choose better. As a matter of fact, you should probably go back and get with the person that you had children with in the first place, because if he was good enough to open your legs for, because kids still need their father. You just said out of your own mouth that you worked closely with the father of the children from the mother that she originally had kids with. So why don't we have conversations with men or with women and say, hey, then how come you won't go back with the person that actually had the children with? Because that's probably what's best for them in most situations. But I believe that you advocate for it because that's the life that you live.
Which that is big facts. But before I address this, I want to go and piggyback with what Anton was saying earlier about the language that Boyce used. I can relate to this because at one point in time as a content creator, I used to use the same. I usually do the same exact lingo. Instead of saying, words like accountability, I use the word attack, and I use all these other type of lesser negative, offensive type words. So the reason why I did it is because, to be honest, I was catering to my audience. Straight up catering to my audience. At one point in time, I was believing that if I said this particular way, that it'll have a less impact. Well, less negative impact versus me saying it that way. But I had learned through behavior is that when you do that lesser impact, the overall lesson or the overall message that you're trying to convey to people, it's not going to be heard. No, it's not going to be learned. No, it's not going to be understood. Versus you being straight up direct and telling them straight up how the way you feel. So I believe that's what Boyce is doing. He keep doing this, nicer coddling type of language, what I'm saying, to try to protect himself and protect, his brand or whatever, stuff like that. But it's cases where you don't need to do that at all. What I'm saying? You need to be straight direct, especially being a man. You need to be straight direct to your point.
You chose it. And so how can you go against the very thing that you...
Oh, let me back up real quick.
He only want to acknowledge the part where people start getting offended because he started holding women accountable. See, your word choice is strategic, and I understand what you do, Boyce. You use attack instead of saying being held accountable. See, we don't use the word attack when we talk to men. We just say, man up, take care of business, take ownership and responsibility for what you did, and then keep going. But we don't use that word when we apply it to women that ask for the advice of Kevin Samuels. He didn't attack anybody. He told the truth. And so it's a difference between being a truth teller and somebody that's doing it for views, because he was compensated according to what it was, which I think that he should have been compensated and he should have been much more successful earlier. But because he was compensated and he was successful as a result of it, that's what then brings out the jealousy. That's what then brings out the haters. That's what then brings out the problem, because he wasn't a problem when he was given the exact same advice, even worse, to men. But let's flip over for a second. I don't think these guys are heroes of the community. I think that these guys are enabling bad behavior, because if a woman, and they say it regularly, can go out and do what she want to do, these college campuses are nothing but indoctrination camps. They are.
I agree with that, but I've said the same thing. Go ahead.
And they literally not only are indoctrination camps, but they're also a gateway into bad behavior for a lifetime of pain, meaning that they go out there, they slut it out, they get pregnant, they do what they want to do, and they even have a phase for it. They say, this is my whole phase.
And not that too about that point that they made about it being an indoctrination camp, which I agree. A lot of people they like to use their educational they like to use their educational experience as though that's a form of knowledge, wisdom, and intelligence. I see it all the time where people they brag about having degrees on her, well, if they have a bachelor's degree, master's degree, even PhDs. Some people even brag about having a high school diploma or a general education or a social degree. And they brag about these as though that's something, as it's a flex to make you seem like you're more superior than people. I don't agree with that at all. The only purpose, to me personally, the only purpose it serves for you to go into like the secondary educational is really just for business purposes, to be real with you, to be quite frank. It does to increase your income, your income status. That's really what it boils down to. Now, I honestly also believe that not only is indoctrination, but I also believe that it is one of the biggest scams out there, period. I honestly do. They want you to go to school for almost like 10 years to receive a piece of paper to certify that you have this type of said knowledge and skill, where we live in an information age now where you don't even have to go to school to acquire your knowledge these days. All you got to do is be willing enough to do enough research about it. You'll have the same knowledge as a person who have a master's degree or even PhD if you wanted to, but it's totally based on you. But these same said people, they'll sit up here and talk down on people, talk about, I'm a expert on this, and so I could tell you this and that and that. But now, just because you're an expert on it, that doesn't mean that that other person is just so inferior over you. I'm just saying. That's why me personally, I do my best not to do that to people, to make just because I have not only educational experience, but I have life experience as well too, or professional experience as well too, that goes along with a lot of stuff I say, especially deal with behavior. I do my best not to do that to people, okay? But sometimes you have people who like to try you. And sometimes in that situation, you just have to let them know, like, hey, don't think you're superior over me. Just because I'm not using textbook language, that doesn't mean I don't know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about, okay? So don't insult my intelligence, period.
So instead of us holding women accountable and saying, hey, you shouldn't have a whole phase, but you should get married, because we already understand what the statistics are. You're less likely to go to jail. You're more likely to graduate college. You're less likely to need therapy. You're less likely to have problems. You're less likely to join gangs if you are raised in a two-parent household. Instead of us going back to the core of it and saying, hey, listen, I'm not going to enable your bad behavior by rewarding you with a good man that then should have been with his own family. Instead, I'm going to hold you accountable, and maybe you should choose better. As a matter of fact, you should probably go back and get with the person that you had children with in the first place, because if he was good enough to open your legs for, because kids still need their father. You just said out of your own mouth that you worked closely with the father of the children from the mother that she originally had kids with.
Facts.
So why don't we have conversations with men or with women and say, hey, then how come you won't go back with the person that actually had the children with, because that's probably what's best for them in most situations.
And facts. I just did a podcast talking about this earlier today, where this same woman who has 7 kids, she was asking, will she be able to qualify to be in a relationship? The majority, the overall answer was that, hey, it's possible, but it's not beneficial for that dude unless he's a single father. Then on top of that, the lady said at the end, like, hey, maybe you need to go back and try to work it out with the father. You said you only got one baby daddy, right? Yeah. Go back and work it out with him. Guess what that woman said? Nah, I don't want to do that. Why not? Why not? Because at the end of the day, if that situation wasn't extremely toxic, where that dude was being like abusive to you, you know what I'm saying, and y'all just had this irreconcilable differences, that's it there. I mean, why not? Why not at least try to attempt to work it out? If you have out, if that dude haven't already got married again, why not? I'm just saying.
But I believe that you advocate for it because that's the life that you live. You chose it. And so how can you go against the very thing that you live and then tell guys to do anything different when that's the thing that you're doing? Because you would sound like a hypocrite. And I think that you also understand who your core audience is. I think that the majority of the people that support you, Boyce, are women, Black women. And they want to hear the narrative. They want to be sold. They want to be told a certain thing similar to how it is when we go to church. And so they support you because you don't go against them. And it's a strong possibility, the majority of them, based off of the statistics, that they are single mothers. And so I don't speak to the majority. I don't speak to the majority of people that want to hear.
You want to know what's crazy is that I look at my analytics too all the time, and the core of my audience is women too. I don't understand why it is, but it is. The core of my audience is women. That's probably why when I be doing these shows and stuff, it only be a certain type of women that actually will literally pull up for real. You know what I'm saying? Because they be like, oh man, Urban on this bull crap again, talking about women. But they're not. But in reality, they're not understanding my whole intentions behind this. When I do these podcasts, I'm talking about women and hosts to hold them accountable, to make them better, to help out with situations. Because I know that it's even women who are watch my show, whether if they're watching a live stream or if they're catching a replay, right? I know some of them are either married and they're dealing with situations in their marriage, right? And they and by me talking about these, having these conversations, so right, it could give them a different perspective about how the reason why it is what's happening in their relationships. You know what I'm saying? It's single women that watch my show as well too. Who's not even married, who may be considering being married. But when I talk about these certain topics and stuff, right, they tell you like, hey, this how the way it's going on in the data scene, and this how the way that men are seeing you. By me saying that stuff, right, it's to my hope that it'll not only hold that woman accountable, where she could watch out for these certain type of Pookie and Ray Rays that I talk about, or if it could be even dudes, right, where I'm talking about these modern day women, or how you go and watch out for. You know what I'm saying? It's my hope that they will take that accountability, they'll take the advice I'm telling you, and it will help them. But, you know, it just is what it is.
What they want to hear. The only thing I care about is
But that ain't me like that's going on here that's bashing women.
Truth. I'll let the chips fall
Or man.
where they may. And I'm not controlled by anybody. I don't care about the demographics. My audience or the people that resonate with me, they gonna find me. I don't pander to nobody. The only thing I do is I tell the truth. There's nothing that I say. Is nothing that you can reference that I say that is actually bad for the community, including how I live my life. Specifically, you reference my family. I'll give you a little bit of context. I was raised in a 2-parent household, all 4 boys, me and my 3 brothers. My father was in our life until I was in my late 30s. That's when my father passed away. Then my mother became a widow when all of her children was out the house past 30 years old. And then eventually another guy, because she was working for me in one of my restaurants, came in, asked me, could he speak to my mother? And then eventually they wound up getting married after her children were already grown. So she was widowed, and then she wound up getting remarried when her children was grown. All 9 of my uncles on my mother's side married, never divorced. None of my brothers have never been divorced. I've been married for over almost 20 years since I was 22 years old with the woman that I chose, the woman that I grew up with in high school. I met her in high school. She's in the other room right now. I have a daughter, right?
So shout out to Anton for the 20 years, man. Because 20 years, I ain't lie. It's a bumpy road, but it's possible. And shout out to him for 20 more years as well too.
My other uncle that's not deceased on my father's side, he's still married to the same woman. I don't come from broken households. I don't come from broken families. I chose the woman that I have. I have no scandals. I have no problems. I have no issues in my life. So when I speak, what happens is the reason why I live my life like an open book is because I want men to not only see an example of a person that's advocating for the thing that he lived for, but I'm a reflection of what I would want my daughter to marry. And so it's hard for women to then come after me and say, well, he's hurt or he's coming from a broken family, because I don't. And I think that it's guys like me that need to advocate for guys that's on the other side, because I don't have to go through it and they don't either. And I want to be a reflection of what I want those guys to be. But I believe that you advocate for it because you understand your audience. I don't think that you even really believe it. There's nowhere in the world that you can tell me, Boyce, that you would tell your daughter or your son to go and get with a ready-made family. I don't believe you would do that.
So, well, let me jump in on that.
In fact, I do the same thing. Matter of fact, my oldest son is in the military right now, and I tell him all the time when I have conversations with him, I like, hey, son, hey. Long as you in the military, you're considered as high value to a lot of women right now. I'm telling you that right now. You are. So do not go into this military and let these women, I don't care if it's women who are in the military with you, do not let these women manipulate you into trying to get into a relationship with you and manipulate you, and you're gonna have sex and getting them pregnant. Because they will try to trap you. I tell my son that straight up all the time, like, hey, while you're young, enjoy your life. It is fine. As long as you're living, there always going to be a surplus on women everywhere that you can meet. Especially you being in the military, you meet women around the world, all over the place. It don't matter. But women are always going to be around. But however, whatever choices that you make is detrimental for you as a man, especially being a black man, because you can make a certain choice or decision and it'll throw the whole course of your life off balance for the rest of your life. So don't put yourself in that, especially with dealing with these type of modern day women and their behavior. So listen to your father and recognize the game. Stay focused on what you want to do, how the way you want to do it, and it's fine. If you want to go around and, date around and, sleep around women, that is totally up to you. But I recommend that you take every precautionary measures if that's what you want to do. Make sure you wrap up and everything. Do what you got to do. Wrap up, do what you got to do. Protect yourself, because I'm telling you that you're considered as high value to these women, and they will try to trap you. That's straight away I tell my one sons, for real. No lie.
My audience is actually,
and I also tell them that don't you never in your lifetime ever try to want to marry a single mother too. Sure do.
pretty mixed. It's about 60-40 women to men though. So you are right about that. But there's a lot of men that follow me, and it's not and the pandering part. I think that's debatable because when I go to your channel and I look at who's in there making comments, it's mostly men, right? And what I would almost say to you, brother, is just in terms of a thought, is I think there's a reason why men resonate with your message more than women, because I don't really hear the kind of intelligent, constructive advice that I think you're capable of when I see your commentary. I see a lot of stuff that could come off as woman bashing, right? Like that, just the little video that I shared on my Instagram about Umar hit it, so hit it. Then you threw that little thing, but Boyce didn't hit it. We know we ain't worried about Boyce. You're right, and you're right.
Once again, how's that particular clip that we seen earlier at the beginning of this podcast? How was that clip woman bashing? I'm still not understanding that, but.
Boyce ain't gonna hit it because Boyce was not out there.
Boyce, right. You know the difference between joking and then also putting the medicine inside of the candy. What part of that clip that you played was actually toxic or woman bashing?
I think the part that was toxic was this idea that that we are judging a woman's past much more harshly than we would judge a man's past. You said sit in the presence of kings. I think it's debatable about what makes a man a king. I know a lot of men who ain't got king-like qualities, who ain't kings for shit.
Wait,
his ideology, I'm not gonna cap. His ideology sound like a feminism talking point, to be honest. But continue.
walking around claiming. Seriously though,
Before
like,
we
think
get
about
that,
how many
what's the toxic part? What's the
well,
toxic?
like when you hear guys talk about, well, women's standards are too high and they want this to, I'm like, well, maybe you just didn't make the fucking cut.
No,
dude.
Boyce.
Like seriously, like a lot of guys don't make the cut and then run around
What in the clip?
bitching and pissed off because the woman didn't want him. She had better options than you.
What in the clip?
Okay, so now he's speaking on the concept of dealing with, you know, these incels and stuff, for, you know what I'm saying, these type of incel dudes that they are so undesirable by women because due to their toxic behavior traits. And so these incels decide that they just don't want to deal with women, period. These are the ones who sit up here and talk all that noise, somebody they hate women and blah, 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 blah stuff. Now, men in these spaces, we don't deal with incels. Them are two totally different archetypes, all right?
Did you play that I say that was woman bashing or toxic?
Okay, let's play the clip. How about we play the clip?
Oh, yeah.
Is that cool? All right,
Yep.
let's put the clip up and we can dissect it. That way we can look at a refresh memory. And I gotta actually take a quick leak. So this will be your platform for a minute. Let me see if this is.
I don't care what nobody say. I definitely agree.
Damn.
Yeah, it's not.
All right, you know what?
Boyce.
It's on my Instagram. Okay, so let me pull it up on my Instagram.
So we
But
should
I'm gonna play the clip, man, because
like what you're saying was
the
interesting.
thing about it was the tone. If you want to understand like the other point of view on what you said, go to my page. Since you said more women might follow me, or whatever, than you. Take a look at what some of the ladies said, and I think that women should be heard. Right? It doesn't mean you got to agree. The question is, are you hearing women, or are you just telling women what you think, and that we somehow, because we're men, our opinion is the only opinion that matters? That's the part that's the problem. That was the issue I had with. I like Kevin Samuels. Kevin did a video about me. I felt bad because he was very supportive, bro. He was very supportive of me in the video. But Kevin died alone. Kevin Samuels, the same shit he said about that woman. You gonna die alone. You gonna die alone. He fucking died alone.
That dude. Oh my God, boys, come on now, stop the cow. Oh my God, I was about to go ahead and do a sound effect on that dude, but forget that ain't even worth it, man. Kevin Samuels did not die alone. Kevin Samuels had allegedly Kevin Samuels had died while he was having sex with a woman. So how in the world is that him dying alone? According to my knowledge. So how's that him dying alone? I'm just saying.
The minute that he passed away, you started talking junk about him the minute that he passed away.
You know what?
He did.
Had to be honest. Just like you said, you don't pander. I don't pander.
Well, how can you sit here and say that you rock with me?
I lost a lot of black male friends because of that position, but I'm okay with that.
I'm with having smoke for people when they can defend themselves. But how can you speak ill upon a man after he passed away? That's just low. That's low brow, boys. You know it. You cannot start speaking all of a sudden start talking tough on a person after they passed away. Hold on. Because I know him. I spoke at his funeral, right? I know his mother. I know his daughter. That was low brow. To hear you as a voice of the black community talk negatively about a person after they passed away, that was foul, boys.
There was nothing I said about Kevin after his death that I did not say when he was alive. And Kevin knew it because Kevin was talking about life on the platform
about a person after they passed away.
My position is unconditional honesty. I don't give a fuck if you're alive or you're dead. My opinion is not going to shift. I did not. No. Let's be clear. I did not dislike Kevin. I specifically gave him compliments. I talked about the good things he did. Man, we gotta defend our women, man. If you got a platform when you're making women feel bad, acting like women are the only ones who can die alone.
Trying to move the goalposts. You're moving the goalposts.
No, we're not moving the goalposts.
Once a person passes away, first of all, it was fresh off of his death, and his mother is grieving, and his daughter is grieving. His friends is grieving. People that actually care for him is grieving. You piled on in the death. That's lowbrow, boys. Listen, and I said it. I don't care if people say anything about a person when they're alive and they can defend themselves. He got a platform. He can say whatever it is that you want to say. When somebody passes away and people are grieving and you piling on in the same way that a lot of these other women that didn't like him, and you say that you like him, but you validating how it is that that's lowbrow behavior. I will never talk negatively about a person that cannot defend themselves. Or if I don't care for somebody, I'm just gonna not say nothing at all. I'm not gonna talk negatively about somebody.
But it's okay. But it's okay to tell women who are gonna die alone that they're gonna die alone. So that's okay.
Call into your platform.
It's okay to
you forgetting one thing, Boyce. You forgetting one thing. They called into his platform to get his advice. He did not ask them.
They did not call in to get abuse. They did not call in.
No. Every single and you're not giving him credit for all of the women that he actually helped, because he had statistics and he had facts. He had people that he was actually getting to the finish line. And see, we don't talk about that part, and you still moving the goalpost. The fact of the matter is, it does not matter what happened when somebody was alive. Us as people with a platform, we should not be talking about people fresh on their death in a negative way, and then at the same time you sitting here talking about, well, I liked him. You can't have both. Either you was rocking with him and you liked him, or you didn't.
No,
but if it was somebody,
I don't. But that's.
I will never do that. I will never do that.
But let me correct you. I don't do that with anyone. There's nobody that I think is perfect. I'm not a follower. I don't rock with somebody 100% or hate them 100%. I talk about the nuances. And I think with Kevin, what I always said about Kevin was the exact same thing I said before he died and after he died. I was consistent. I might be an asshole, but at least I'm a consistent asshole. As I said, he's a brilliant guy. He did great work, but he realized his channel took off when he told that lady she was going to die alone. And right before he died, he said some shit about, like, when you over 35, you're a leftover. Nobody wants you. Who the fuck thinks that shit? That's bullshit.
We can go back and forth. Women in our community. I'm not here to defend Kevin.
Do you believe that? You believe a woman is worthless if they're over 35?
We can get into that. I'm not here to defend Kev because Kev's legacy speaks for itself, in my personal opinion. He said what he said. People can agree with it or disagree with it. I used to have conversations on the phone with him all the time where I would personally disagree with him on some things also. But I will never let that come out into the public, because that's not what friends do. If I was holding Kev accountable, or if he was holding me accountable, then we held each other accountable privately, because we truly rock with each other. So I'm not here to defend Kev, because Kev can his work speaks for itself. I'm saying that that's lowbrow behavior to speak on somebody. That would be almost like somebody bringing up Kobe's issues as far as what he dealt with when he was dealing with the whole rape charges upon the crashing and when he passed away. That wasn't the time for it, Boyce. That's when you pass away, people are grieving. They are grieving. They trying to remember the best of whatever it is that they have left of the person, because it was an unexpected death. That's not right. It's just not right.
Let's be clear. I don't think I talked about Kevin until the time had passed. I didn't talk. It wasn't like I did a video right when he died and said breaking news: Kevin Samuels died, and this is why I'm. I wasn't happy about it. I wasn't, but I did use it as I was thinking about the people I care about, which is mostly young black men and young women. And I said, and I wanted men to understand that men die alone too. Men who don't invest in family, they die alone just like women do. And so with what happened with Kevin, I hate it. It was me being overly logical. He was a logical guy. I think he could understand this. The reality is that we need to stop acting like it's only women that can die alone for making bad relationship choices. Men, we do have a privilege. Black men, we have a huge privilege, because statistics show that the percentage of marriage eligible black men to black women is highly disproportionate because of mass incarceration and all that. So men like you or men like me that are at a certain age, that have money or whatever, you got the pick of the litter. Women are everywhere. There was over a supply of women. It was too much, right? But that's why I wanted to get married. I didn't want all that no more. So the thing about it is, a lot of women that are gonna die alone, whatever we want to call it, it's not because they were hoes or they all made bad choices. It's because there's an imbalance. And I think that you got to talk about that, man. You can't just talk.
We can debate that, but I just wanted to make sure that I addressed that I didn't think that was right. I mean, we could debate anything, or not even debate. I don't even want to say debate, because debate is, you taking a position and I'm taking a position. I'm open to the possibility that I'm wrong, and I'm open to hearing you. And after this conversation, I'm also going to take into consideration everything that you say, because I do think that you're intelligent, and I do think that you make.
And that I have to disagree with Anton on that one. That's the whole point about debating, is that once again you are taking a certain position or stance. But sometimes people believe that when you're taking a certain position or stance, that means that you can't agree with them with a certain with a certain one talking point that they say, which you can. The whole point about the debate is that when you take that certain position, you're open up to the possibility that hell, you may be wrong, you may lose. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's fine. And the reason why, because life is filled with experiences, okay, for us to live and learn. There's some things that I'm 100 about. There's some things I'm not 100 about. But I'm more than willing to learn. And so, even when people want to do this debate, hell, even sometimes when I go onto one panels and I debate a certain talking point, it's not that I'm personally attacking the person. The one thing I'm doing is attacking their talking points. So that's it. Because I don't have no type of ill will against the certain said person or anything like that. I never do. Whenever I go on panels or we have a conversation, discussion or wherever it is, I don't have nothing personally against that person. But sometimes, through my experience, it be that person be having a personal thing against me, and they use that as their talking points. Okay? But that's another story another time.
Make some interesting and good points, right? But we can have a conversation about anything. I just don't agree with the way that you addressed it. I thought that it was.
Once again, salute to everybody who's tuning in and watching the stream right now. Right now, we are watching the debate between Boyce, Watkins and Anton Daniels. All right, we're almost towards the end of this debate. We got roughly around about 10 to 15 minutes more of this debate left. So once again, appreciate y'all tuning in. Those y'all come in, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. It do help out the podcast a whole lot. And if you ever want to show me out as well too, make sure you do that as well too, because that also help the channel out as well too. So let's go ahead, continue.
I think that you're better than that.
Okay. Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. And the feeling's mutual. And I want us to, I'm glad we're connected. I want to say that because I do believe in conflict resolution and I appreciate the fact you came in. So I got that clip. I'm gonna play your clip. And then I want you to give your perspective on what you.
Now, I do have to agree with this too, is that throughout this whole entire debate that they're having with each other, they are using effective communication. They really are. The only time when they was using ad hominems is when they was addressing each other for using it in the past. There wasn't currently using ad hominems to personally attack each other throughout this whole entire conversation. Boyce wasn't doing it. Anton wasn't doing it, but they was only doing it as a talking point for prior ad hominems that was previously stated. Okay, so they're doing great content. They're doing great effective communication, and as Boyce is getting ready to say now, conflict resolution. Which, to be honest with you, is in this particular situation, it's not really a conflict resolution type thing because it never was a conflict to begin with. In the first place, all it was is that it was two different totally ideologies that they just didn't agree on, which there's nothing wrong with that. All right, Sour Patch, I see you in the bushes. Salute.
Saying, and then I'll give you my take. So I think I got the right clip here. Here we go.
I don't even want to be in the presence of a woman that's tainted. You don't have a chance because he already had you. Listen, if it's that easy for me to get it, I don't feel that special because he hit it and Dreadhead hit it and Umar hit it. Boyce didn't hit it. He didn't have a chance. We ain't worried about Boyce. And the favorite football player hit it and the basketball player hit it and the homie from the hood hit it and they ran a train on you before that and then you had a kid by him and you had a kid by him and you had a kid by him and then for some reason you think you're supposed to be sitting in the presence of kings. Since when did that happen? How is it that we started qualifying ourselves for people that we don't even qualify to sit in front of? And then they want you to be a step crash dummy. I just got a quick question, ladies. What qualifies you for a good man? Gentlemen, for those of you that have held yourself to a higher standard, have gone through the fire, has become the best version of yourself and continue to evolve based off of what your next preference is, your next purpose is, your growth curve, because your purpose is ever evolving depending on where you at in your life. I tell you all the time, vet for the direction that you're going in so the woman that you wind up being with is not the woman that you've met. Anton, how do you vet for the direction that you're going in? Think about it. Overwhelmingly, guys, the value of a man continues to rise as he gets older. Value of a woman diminishes as she gets older. That's why they call it the wall, because she hit a certain point in her life to where if she can't climb, she bound to drizzle. Shout out to Snoop.
So, where is this bashing women? That's because that was Boyce's original argument, was that this particular clip that that Anton was talking about, it was bashing women, and on top of that, he threw some ad hominem attacks on Boyce, which we're not going to deny that one. All right, but
That's correct. So
All right.
what part of that is woman bashing?
That a woman's value diminishes as she gets older. I think that there is a better way to lay that out. Now, one thing I will say, I'm gonna start with where
now once again, he's talking about how the way you should talk about it, or as y'all call the tone. Once again, I already established to y'all that it had to be certain situations where, especially as being a man, you have to be straight direct with people, especially women. Well, when you don't be direct with them, more than likely women would take that as a form of weakness. Okay? Just being straight up honest with y'all on that. So you have to be straight direct.
I agree with you, because these debates are hard for me, honestly, because I listen to a lot of the stuff you say, and I listen to a lot of stuff Kevin said, and I completely got it. I do. And my wife doesn't get it the way I get it. And I've encouraged her. I've said, you should probably listen to some of these guys because they are reflecting something that a lot of men feel. And I think that should be heard. I think that the way I would challenge you on that a little bit is to say, is there a way you can make your point without it coming out as what you are against? You did talk about what you were for. You talked about men, the best version of yourself and everything else. And the problem with people on the internet is that a guy who's listening to you, there's nothing in that video that makes him say, well, maybe I need to step my game up. Where am I lacking? Where have I made a mistake? Where have remember, we're men, we're the leaders of the community. If the community's falling apart, a lot of it's falling on us. Where am I not doing what I'm supposed to do? Right. And then the other part is that I think that really just sort of saying things like, look, as a man, my value goes up as I get older. As a woman, your value goes down. I know a lot of guys whose value does not go up, because of the bad choices that they're making. They got the babies, mamas, the diseases, the bad credit, they haven't got their money up, education levels flat.
So I'm flabbergasted at the point that he's still stuck on this thing about tone, and now he's simply trying to educate Anton to, well, instead of you saying it this way, maybe you should just say it that way. And when he's saying it like that, he's basically telling Anton, maybe you should say it the way I want you to say it. That's basically what he's saying. But in reality, that's not Anton. That is not his personality. That is not his temperament or anything like that. And we need to want to get off of that. And that's why I stated earlier about this whole tone thing. Certain people say certain things because it is part of their temperament, part of their personality, how the way they are, and you just have to accept it for what it is. You know what I'm saying?
And not taking care of their kids, not a good leader of the household. So this is, I think that's a false idea. And then also I think that as men, it's not really our right to tell a woman what her value actually is. There are some women who have enough juice where they could sleep with several men and do whatever they're going to do and still bag a good man because she looks good or because she knows how to treat a man or whatever. I think that these hard, fast rules I don't like. That's what I don't like. Like the idea that if you're over 35, you're worthless. That's not, I know women that are 42 that could compete with a 28-year-old. So why don't we talk about as opposed to trying to make these rules?
You don't know no 42-year-old that can compete with a 28-year-old. Come on, stop,
bro. Let me tell you the truth. I'm an honest reflection here. When I was 45, that was when I got married. I had just ended a relationship with a woman that was younger than me, much younger, and I made a conscious decision. I told my friend, I said, I really don't want to date younger women anymore because I want to date a grown-up. And at that time, I met women that were all 37, 38 and over because I specifically said, I do not want to date a woman under 35 because I want a woman I can relate to. I'm a cerebral man. I'm not a stupid guy. I don't think with my dick. I think with my brain. And I wanted somebody that actually had something in common with me, somebody who understood how to care about something other than herself, somebody who wasn't thinking like a child. And Black women are gorgeous. There are women that can hit 38, 40. Now you're not 40 yet. You'll know, like, I think when you get like 40,
I'm 41.
you're 41. Okay. Well, okay. So I thought you were 38. Okay, so you're 41. As you get older, you start to just really see what Black women can do. Now, it doesn't apply to all women, but there are some women out here that look really good that I would literally, legitimately, that might be 41 that I would pick over a dumbass 29-year-old.
Do you hear yourself? You're saying a woman that looks really good. See, when I teach guys what to vet for, I'm not focused on the silly shit like women that look really good. I'm teaching guys to vet for whether or not she has great character, whether or not she's a good mother, right? Or whether or not she would be a good mother. I'm teaching.
And the same thing on this platform as well too. Now, once again, I know that currently right now my platform is not the best couple of one trending and stuff, but it will be. But that's exactly the same thing I do over here, is that I'm teaching people how to vet properly in relationships. I point out certain type of behavior traits. I point it out, teach you how to watch out for that so it can help improve you. And ain't no woman bashing, ain't no man bashing, anything like that. It does what it is. And I'm not going to change my tone just to please people, to make people feel good about themselves. No, sometimes you got to be direct and firm.
Guys to be equally yoked with women that understand spirituality, right? Women that will pray for you when you go out. And a lot of times, one of the ways in which we qualify people, even in the job market, you look at their resume, right? And so if every other sector and in everything that we do in life, we qualify people based off of their past decisions, then why in relationships is that the only sector because we feel a certain type of way, or she looks good? Because let's be clear. Listen, anybody can go and get some surgery. Anybody can go and get a BBL. Like, that don't mean nothing. The surface level stuff don't mean anything to people like, supposed to be people like me and you, that have substance, that's trying to build, that understand the importance of creating a legacy, that leaves a blueprint for other people that come behind us as to what it is that you should vet for. I'm not focused on the surface level stuff. I'm focused on things that actually build communities and add value. So it's not about looks. It's not about that for me, Boyce. And when I teach these guys, I'm telling them, vet for the direction that you're going in, not for what your current circumstances are. And that's why it's important, because when you see the narrative that's resonating amongst all of these other women channels, they're saying don't date guys based off of potential. When you 22, 23, 24 years old, you ain't got nothing but potential. You broke. You trying to figure it out. You're trying to grow. You're trying to get yourself together. You in school. You probably just got a job. You're in an internship or whatever. And so if they telling you don't date based off of potential, then all I can do is give guys insight on how it is that they can vet for women that actually look to go in the direction that they're going in, who are equally yoked, right? So when I say that a woman that is 42 can't compete with a woman that's 28, often at times I'm saying that you have a better idea of what her past decisions were to more effectively evaluate whether or not she's a good woman. I don't go based off of the surface. I don't go based off of optics. I go based off of reality. Based off of
so let me ask you.
And so similarly, when we reference back into that clip, if she slept with every single other guy and she had a whole bunch of kids by a bunch of other people, but then she still find herself not in a relationship, not married, not moving the way that she's supposed to move. So you telling me that as a man, if I'm single, no children, taking care of business, top of the totem pole, I know that statistically my earning potential is not even going to hit its apex until its late 50s, early 60s. That I'm supposed to pick her?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm actually saying pick who the hell you want. Just pick who you want. Here's where we agree. Here's what.
I'm wrong. See, picking whoever you want is a problem in relationships, period. You shouldn't be trying to pick whoever you want just because you find that person desirable. You should be going through the whole process of vetting out the person. Just the same thing as, let's say, for this example, you're trying to choose a job, right? You're not going to pick this any other type of job, right? Correct? You're not going to pick any other type of job. You're going to look for a certain type of job that's going to benefit you financially, period. So you're not going to just pick any other type of job that's not going to help you pay your bills, because it wouldn't be worth the time and effort that you're going to put into that company or doing it. Company want you to work on 40 hours a week, including overtime, and do all this additional stuff in their job, but it's not sustaining you how the way you want it to. Why that can't be the same equivalency of being in relationships where you choose carefully about the right type of person that you want to be in a relationship with. Don't choose because your hormones want you to desire that person because that person look good. You need to properly vet out that person, period. You need to find out how the way that person is, how the way they think, their mindset is, their family background, everything. You need to know everything about that person. But what tends to happen is that people will want the desirable part first. They want the outside appearance of the look first. Get into the relationship, then start trying to vet out that person while you're in a relationship for 3 months, 6 months, a year, and you just finding out stuff about people. No, you should have did that prior before you even got a relationship with them. They had the audacity to simply say, you're toxic. No, you're toxic. Just like with Risa Tisa. She said, talking about Leisure is a pathological liar. Duh. But you chose to stay with that dude. Reason why you chose to stay with that dude because how the way your mindset is. Because you got a screwed up mindset. And that's how the way it is in relationships. They see the signs, instead of them properly vetted out, it's like as though you just want to settle for the bull crap. No.
We agree. You talked about a woman where everybody done hit it. Umar hit it. No, that they ran the train on her. I'm not picking that woman either. That's
You
not
don't
what I
know.
want.
No, how do you know?
Here's the thing.
How do you know?
I don't need to announce that. I just will pick a quality woman. I picked what I wanted.
What's a quality woman?
To me, a quality woman was a woman that fit my life. Like you said, all those things.
Yes, no, what is the characteristic?
But listen, no,
He said that a quality woman is a woman that fits his life. Any woman could pretend to be exactly how the way you want them to be. Any man could pretend to be exactly how the way you want them to be. Anybody could do that. That's why they use the old saying that you only meet the representation of the person, but you don't meet the real person. That's why they say that. It's because people only shows the representation of it. They only be what you want them to be instead of who they truly are. And this is also the reason why when you be in these relationships, right, all of a sudden you hear these famous words, you have changed. You're not how the way that I wanted you to be. Or how the way I imagine you to be. Because in reality, you wanted this dude to be a certain type of way, or you want this woman to be a certain type of way. No.
You said to the quality woman.
You were talking about the non.
I hope that he didn't do this with his own wife, to be real about it. I hope he didn't do this with his wife where he just chose her because she fit his life. I hope he didn't do that, because if he did, then this dude here.
Ten, you talking about the things that didn't have to do with what she looked like, right? The spirituality, what kind of mother should be all. Well, then where did that comment come from about a woman's value diminishing with age? It seems to me that if she's older, she'd have more of the spirituality and be just a better person, be more intellectual, be able to connect with. So
let's have a conversation.
Why would you pick a young thought, a 27-year-old who still doesn't even know who she is, as opposed to say a 39-year-old who maybe is more evolved in that way? I'm not telling you what to
How
pick.
did she discover who she is? Did she discover who she was by sleeping with a bunch of guys, having a bunch of relationships? Because you can't unsee what you saw. You can't think about it. If a woman is 40 and I'm looking to have children, you have a better chance of doing it with a 28-year-old than you do with a 40-year-old.
Now that is true. That is true, right? Because that was my real life dilemma. I was like, do I really want to have more kids or do I not? I married a woman specifically with children, not just because she was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. She was one of my best friends, and her kids are great kids, well behaved, but also because they were already at a certain age where I wouldn't have to change no diapers. I didn't want to. I didn't want to have a newborn and change diapers at 45, 46 years old. It was like, no, I'll take the 7 or 8-year-old and mentor that child, and that was fulfilling for me. And so my point is to say, here's the thing. When I made that decision, Anton, I wasn't telling other men this is what y'all need to do. I was saying this is what the fuck I want to do. And I think
that's not what you say, Boyce. Because listen, Boyce, unfortunately for you and for me, everything we do is up for debate because it's not just what we say. Our life decisions are also communicated to people. And I think that the things that you do is 90% of the conversation. 10% of it is what we say. The 10% is just the cherry on top. That's just us highlighting and then using ourselves as an example in order to illustrate what you should do. So your life decisions, unfortunately, and me, unfortunately, is up for debate. We don't get to control that. We are public figures. And now the things that we do and then the way that we communicate to people actually is communicating to them how it is that they should be moving and how they should make their life decisions because they look up to us based off of our results. And so you don't just say, well, I did it, and that's just the conversation, because that ain't even what you do. You also say, hey, these guys should be going out here and getting with these women that may have kids because we need to save the community, and these are the heroes of our community. That's what you also communicating, not only in your actions, but also you say it out of your mouth.
Well, you know what? I share my perspective, right? I don't think that anybody who is a free-thinking man should just be on another man's jockstrap to the point where you're doing everything that he does.
Don't do that.
You don't. Seriously, when we talk about voting, people always, every time I say something to critical of the Democrats, people think I'm telling people to be a Republican. And the first thing I say is, I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm telling you because I don't know your life. I don't know what your preferences are. It's like I can't tell you what kind of woman you should want. If you should want a tall, short, fat, thin, whatever. I'm saying that there is somebody out there for everybody, and pick what works for you.
It's not somebody for everybody. You see, that's why I think that you're wrong, because it's not somebody for everybody. We know that to be a fact. Everybody is not going to win. Everybody not going to get married. Everybody can't go on. We know that this is the truth. And so for example, I have conversations with women because I think that they're delusional to all be going for the same type of guy. More importantly, I think that they're delusional to believe that they all deserve a great man, because their definition of great is not realistic for what we actually need in our communities. Most of us are regular, everyday people. That's just the reality. Okay, we all regular, everyday people.
Well, let me ask you this though, but is it not delusional for us to decide what we think a woman deserves or what a woman can actually get?
Yes.
I've seen women who, maybe they got a couple kids and they are a certain age, but because they got the secret sauce and they know how to treat a man, or they know how to exercise their options appropriately, they never run out of men that are interested in getting with them. So I don't think that I would have the authority to go.
They don't run out of
men. Think about it though. Think about it.
They don't run out of men that's willing to sleep with them. It's a difference.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Right. We agree on that. We agree on that. But I can't.
Sleeping around is not good, boys.
No. Seriously. Like, imagine somebody telling a young black man that because you got a criminal record and a bad credit score, ain't no woman never going to want to be with you. You don't know. I mean, this man might be 6'5" and handsome as hell. He'll never run out. He'll never have a shortage of women. Right. So the point is to say that you can't look at a person and make your determination that they're delusional. It's like if somebody says, I want to get a job and I want to work 10 hours a week, I want to make $500,000 a year. It's not my right to say that's delusional. I would say, well, that's going to be hard for you to do. But there are people like Anton Daniels who does work 10, however many hours a week you work, and you make a lot of money. Right?
Isn't it interesting? Because you're validating delusion as though people deserve to get what they think that they want. For example, why do we try to discourage every young guy from not thinking that they just gonna make it into the league? You don't have to be a rapper. Hey, family, if you over here and you think that you deserve or you're gonna be awesome and to be this big rapper or to be this big basketball player, we know statistically that you have a greater chance of being great when it comes to investing and putting into your 401k and reducing your tax burden and possibly starting a business if you understand it from a business perspective, or becoming going down a specific path from a college perspective and becoming a software engineer or a cybersecurity professional. I'm going to lead you into the thing, and then I'll say, listen, you can follow your dreams after you do what you're supposed to do when it comes to securing your future, or to make sure that you're always going to be able to make money, right? And so the delusion is to put all of your eggs in that basket, and I'm going to call that young man out on that, and I'm going to say, listen, bro, if you're putting all of your eggs, the average basketball player only is in the league for 4 years, and then 5 years after they leave the league, they're going to go bankrupt. That's what the statistics say. Right. And so I'm not leading him into this delusional way of thinking. I'm going to speak to him based off of what's best for him. And so it's the same thing when it comes to women, except for we remove those barriers because it's only based off of what you feel, not based off of the reality. The reality is that they don't deserve a certain type of guy based off of their life circumstances and the way that they live their life. See, the way that we judge people and we evaluate people is based off of what the results are. If you decide that you want to go out here and you sexy red, it behoove me to sit here and tell you that you deserve a Russell Wilson. But the problem is you'll have a Russell Wilson then hit these women with delusion because they've made the decision. Now you got every woman saying that they're going to say the Sierra's prayer. That's not reality for the majority of the Black community. So we got to speak to the majority. We can't speak to the anomalies. It's not realistic.
Okay, so I will agree with your point 100% is that remember my background's economics, and I think I see everything as a market. And what you're basically saying is that if you're talking to a kid in the hood that says I want to be the next LeBron, you might say, look, the odds of this happening are very, very low. But you never know. You might be talking to LeBron, right? If LeBron's teachers had said going to the NBA is not going to happen for you, that would have been wrong, right? But most kids are not LeBron. We know this, right? So you might say, well, look, you're only 5'8". You don't even play basketball. This may not work out for you. And I agree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. I think that when you talk about, the sexy reds or whatever, I'm right there with you on that. I talk about the sexy red bullshit all the time. But I also think that at the same time, I think as men, we should probably be a little more nuanced in terms of how we have that conversation. We don't have to be bastards about it. A lot of people, men and women, you look at men that make bad choices. We could just say, well, you're a dumbass because you made bad choices. Now look at your life. Nothing's possible for you. Or you can try to also understand why he might have made those bad choices, why he might have went to jail at an early age because of the situation he was born in. So a lot of the women that they come to men like us for advice that will take the time to hear what we have to say, to hear a man's perspective. Some of them are so damaged. Some of them, again, I don't agree with Sierra having a baby with Future. I think Future is a piece of shit. I really do. But the problem I have is that you have a lot of guys that live that same lifestyle, have that same mentality, who might listen to your channel and say, yeah, that's right. These hoes need to change their behavior. They need to do this, do that. And I'm like, well, what about you too? I don't know why Sierra.
See that's one of the things that he's doing too. He tried to use that as a talking point to equate that there are other dudes that come onto the channel, but at the end of the day, he know as a content creator, you can't control what people be saying in this chat. I mean, you could set up certain guidelines and boundaries like how I do on my channel, but at the end of the day, you really can't control what people say, what they say behavior. And just because they are saying that doesn't mean that's majority of everybody who's saying it as well too. That's what Boyce have to understand.
Had a baby with Russell with Future. Maybe she thought Future was going to be a better man than the man that he turned out to be, or maybe something's wrong with her. I don't even know.
That's where you lose me, Boyce. Come on, he had already had a bunch of children. And he's a rapper, and he was blowing weed smoke out here in these streets, and he talking about Molly's and Percocet. Come on, you don't. What she thought she was going.
Now you are right about that. You're right. Just like as men, we sleep with women that we ain't got no business sleeping with. My buddy got a stripper pregnant, and he's a professor, and I was like, why would you fuck a stripper? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
He needs to be held accountable for that.
Absolutely. And so what I would say with the accountability thing, I'm all about team accountability. I'm right there with you 100%. I just think accountability starts at home. If I have not fully held myself accountable, then I have to be careful about judging others and
But
judging
I have
other
held
people.
myself accountable, and so I feel like I'm in a position.
I think that you have, but I don't think everybody in your audience has. I think that there are men who literally go through life blaming all their problems on women. The reason I'm miserable is because my baby mom.
Now, in that situation, I do agree with him that there's people in this audience that probably have hold themselves accountable, but that doesn't mean that Anton is pandering to them. That's what he needs to understand, that he's not doing that. He's not doing that at all.
Well, the reason that the women did, the reason I ain't got no money is because women did this to me and did that to me. And I think it starts with their mother. I think a lot of them had mommy issues. And
Wait. Hold on, stop there. How did they get mommy issues?
From their mommy.
Being raised by what? A single mother, right?
Single mother.
In some cases, yes. But then also remember, hurt people. So we are an ecosystem as Black people. In many cases, when you see an abusive man, a lot of times it rooted from behavior from some woman that did not do right by him. But when you see a woman behaving in inappropriate ways, a lot of times you can link that back to a man, and maybe it comes from her father or her ex-husband or whatever, right? And my point is to say that if we're going to
how it always comes back to the man, though, Boyce.
It does no. It comes. Well, I think that as men, all I can do is take responsibility for what I do. All I can do is look at like where am I contributing? Right. So as a husband,
we are our brother's keeper, and we hold everybody accountable. Nobody should be absolved from being held accountable, men and women. The difference is that I don't see guys get mad when I hold them accountable, but I do see women say that you automatically women bashing when you call a spade a spade. Listen, if you've been slutting it out and you for the streets, and then I say, hey, you've been slutting it out and you for the streets, all of a sudden that becomes women bashing because you're not being compassionate enough. But if I talk to a guy and I say, hey, you doing pookie behavior and you out here doing stuff and you messing up the community, man, you a sucker. You need to hold yourself accountable. All of a sudden it's, oh yeah, good job. You holding them accountable. It got to be equal across the board because everybody has the choice to do what they want to do now.
And that's a huge point that he made too. And I made the same point too in a different way. I made that point about addressing about the difference between the brotherhood and the sisterhood. Overwhelmingly, once again, a lot of women, they believe that they shouldn't be their sister keeper at all, period. They believe that they should stay out of people, that stay out of their sister business and condone their toxic behavior. But when you flip around with the double standards, same women believe that me and other men should hold men accountable with the brotherhood. They do. So yeah, it's a double standard, but it need to be equal across the board.
You can't tell a woman what she can and can't do anymore. And so because of that, you don't have complete dominion over what happens in your household because she can go and do what she want to do. She can go and get her own job. She can sleep with who she wants to. Then if we want to look at ourselves as a community, then the whole community needs to be held accountable. You cannot absolve one thing from the other and then say that you automatically mad at one thing simply because you're being equal across the board. That's what equality is.
Now, I think you make a perfect point. I mean, I can't really disagree with what you said because remember, I had a big controversy over Lizzo. I said that I don't like this idea that this lady's being paid by these record labels to promote obesity in the Black community, like obesity is body positivity. There's nothing positive about dying from diabetes and shit, right?
Am I paused? Or is it Boyce?
Oh, it's
Boyce is struggle streaming. I thought it was me, but I guess it's him. Well, I guess this is Anton from Anton Daniels show now. Well, since
hey, this funny because this happened to me before too. I lie, and it'd be so awkward. Like, oh, okay, well, I don't know what to do, so we're just gonna roll with it. So that's why I'm laughing about it. It's funny. Hold up, let me get right there.
But I guess it's him. Well, I guess this is Anton from Anton Daniels show now. Well, since I got your attention, until we get Uncle Boyce back, Anton Daniels is not hurt. All right. Anton Daniels do not feel a certain type of way. And I think that y'all need to bring yourself back to the front of the congregation in order to ensure that we have a successful community. If you want best for the community, then you got to get the beam out of your own eye. Oh, Boyce, I was just giving the people a little bit of insight until you got back.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, my Wi-Fi went out for a second, so it's your show for a minute, man. But I'm gonna say this. For the sake of extending the olive branch, I want to apologize for anything I've said that's been hurtful or disrespectful to you. And I want to say also that I've learned from your perspective.
And here's another thing that I don't agree with what he's doing. He uses his language talking about that he wanted to stand the olive branch. The reason why he's saying that is because he wanted to appear that he's the bigger man in front of his audience, that he's a bigger man, even bigger than Anton. So I'll be listening to what people be saying, how the way they put it. But once again, like I stated earlier in this podcast, is that he don't have to apologize for his own opinion. He really don't. Really don't. Because as a man, you meant what you said and stand in your square. Now, more likely what Anton gonna do, since he's doing the apology report, more likely Anton is gonna do the same of that thing because he feel that that's the gentleman thing to do.
And if you are okay with that, I'd like for us to walk away from this conversation as brothers. How do you feel about that?
And once again, he used this language to I want us to walk away as brothers. Now, to be I'll do respect. I'll do respect. Though the only type of one brother that you should have is your blood brother. Now, when I talk about informants to like the brotherhood, that's different. You know what I'm saying? But as you know, you trying to convey that you're my brother, or his brother is, that all of that is unnecessary.
Oh, I'm 100% on board. I think that well, first let me say this. I also apologize for any low blows that I might have thrown, but I think that it is important to have these conversations. I think you are intelligent. I think you're very, very smart. I just think that you're a good guy. I think we all have differences of opinion, but at the same time, I can also hold myself accountable and say that I should probably be a lot more above board than just, you know what I'm saying, and reacting or thinking that I'm always right or whatever. But I'm open to the fact that I could be wrong, and we all evolving. Who I am today is completely different to who I was yesterday, and I'm assuming that that's the same thing with you. So yeah, I also apologize, and I want us to walk away also, with a good perspective or a good understanding of who each other is. And I respect you. I got a lot of respect for you.
Yeah, but vice versa, brother, vice versa. And so everybody, if you could give a digital thank you to Anton for popping in. Anton Daniels, that's your last name. It's Daniels, right?
Yeah.
Right, bro. Okay, yeah, Anton Daniels. So you can look him up on YouTube. And we got to do this again. We, get together and debate some stuff, man. I really enjoyed this a lot.
And that is the end of this debate. That's the end of the debate. So, but what are y'all takeaways from this overall debate? Do you agree with Boyce talking points, or do you agree with Anton talking points? Who you think overall won this particular debate? Do you think Boyce won the debate, or do you think Anton won the overall debate? Let me know what you think in the comments behind this. But me personally, I believe that both gentlemen had some pretty good, interesting talking points. But to say that someone won in this debate, I would honestly say that overall, overwhelmingly, that Anton had the strongest talking points in this particular conversation. Not because, Anton, me and Anton in the same space, but it's simply because I was looking at the overall talking points for both of them. And so Anton actually came out more on top over the Boyce. My personal opinion, my personal perspective behind that. But maybe y'all see something different. Maybe you believe that Boyce came out on top on this debate. If you believe in that, let's put it to the comment section. Let me know the reason why you feel that way, or let me know the reason why you feel that Anton won, or let me know if you feel like this wasn't a debate at all. It was just a great conversation. Whatever the case may be, put it in the comments and let everybody know. And I guarantee that I will read your comments and I will respond to your comments. Okay. So other than that, thank y'all so much for tuning in to the one stream. Like always, make sure y'all catch the replay of my stream that I did earlier today. If you haven't done so, like I always like this stream. If you're not following this channel, by all means, follow this channel as well too. If you are content creators, make sure you not only you want to like the stream, follow my channel, but also share my content because it does help this channel out a whole lot, and I appreciate that when y'all do. Believe me, I do a whole lot. All right. So other than that, thank y'all so much for tuning in, and I'll see y'all again on the next episode. And one last thing too. Thank everybody who showed up for the show as well. Sal Pastor, we really showed up on Constance, showed up Chris T as well, showed up. Appreciate y'all a whole lot, and everyone who gonna catch the replay of this, and everyone who's watching in the bushes. Salute to y'all as well too. Thank y'all, and y'all have a great night.